Alrighty, welcome back to the Challengers Elite and now the North American region, where if you tuned into Europe, it was tiebreaker situations galore. We're not going to give you any reprieve from that. We've got even more to go through here in North America in some form. But of course, we need to do the introductions. My whole shift with me, as always, Visions and Infinity. Gentlemen, I hope we were all able to get refreshed because we had two absolutely down to the wire best of fives that went all the way to 5. Every single map very, very close. All of those matches with relegation situations. And even though we do not have relegation situations here for us, Visions, we do have a lot of placement positions that are being fought for.
Yeah, we definitely do. I mean, everything here for the top 6 is essentially up in the air for as far as who might be able to come out on top. So we have no one solidified for first place, which is a bit of a change-up and not something we typically see. However, do end up already dropping out there. Sobriety Gaming as well as Easter, two teams that I don't think too many people expected maybe to be out with some of the ways they were able to come in with either the last stage or this one. But it is what it is. We are with what we have, and it should make for an excellent play out here in towards week 2 with the next 6 teams here.
And Brody, we all know that you love to work out all the different permutations and stuff. Yep. I think we've all kind of phoned it in, though, for trying to figure out what could potentially happen for this stage. How are you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good, man, especially with today. Today is like a treat. It's like Christmas for me
really
when I'm working out all this permutations stuff. As I said, though, the same thing I said to Europe earlier on applies once again to North America, where, I was kind of trying to work it out earlier on, and I just gave up because there's just so much that could happen here. Bottom line for me, though, Austin, you kind of already touched upon this. The top 6, they are all still fighting for those top 2 playoff spots. But once again, just like we had with Europe earlier on, Alan, this could well go to a 6-way tie today. So I'm very excited to get into North America.
Yeah, it was funny. Exceed just messaged me on Twitter. He's like, hey, have you done the math for the 4-way tie situation? I was like, brother, we're excited for a 6-way tie situation. What are you on about? So here's the standings as we were kind of looking through. And again, it's just one of those things that you look across from top to bottom. Well, Infinity, we talked about that 6-way tie potential because the bottom half of the group is essentially playing the top half. So there's the potential of 6 teams being tied at 4 and 3 when we're done with all this.
Yeah, for sure, right? And I think that is the key thing here. Obviously, the first thing that comes to mind when you look at this overall standings is that you do have 4 teams that are currently sitting at 4 and 2. And as you've already mentioned, Shift, those 4 teams are going to be playing the bottom 4 teams. So there is a real chance here that we do have effectively just those 4 teams fighting out for the final 2 spots. Also, though, because of the fact that the top 4 teams are playing the bottom 4 teams, we do have also an opportunity here for LAG Academy and UT Crew to put their own hat into this ring, or this virtual 6-way tie ring. Everyone's going to go 4 and 3. Easter and Sobriety could still mess some teams up. It's the final day of Challengers Elite Round Robin. This is normal. This is what we kind of accept at this point.
But at the same point, we have our relegated teams already. And Visions, Easter is one of them. I mean, they were 0-5 in their final match yesterday. What is up with that?
I think it's absolutely wild to see a team from last stage win the entire thing and then go to the absolute bottom. I mean, we have not really experienced anything like this for as far as an elite as of yet. It almost just feels like this entire team just kind of fell off a cliff. At the same time, though, it feels like this coaching staff that's behind them and all the structure that's been implemented behind the Easter lineup, is keeping them on track. I think really these guys are actually going to stick together and kind of come back to the qualifier based off of what we've seen for as far as tweets and social media and things like this. I hope that's the case because it would be nice to see them bounce back, but it is a big surprise. I mean, these are some of the best talent that we have in North American Challengers, and to see them fall like this down towards the bottom is certainly a surprise.
Kind of the same thing for Sobriety Gaming. M. Ruiz, Brack as a part of that squad. First time we'd seen either of them play in the Elite thus far, but not the showcase they would have liked. So with that in mind, again, we need to figure out how we're going to formulate all these tiebreakers, and we're going to look at the schedule to see what exactly we're going to be bringing to you guys here on the main stream. We've got UT Crew going up against Nemo first, and then LIG Academy versus the system. And, UT Crew, hot start, I would say, to this group overall. Nemo kind of the same situation, but both really at the end of the day here, Austin, trying to fight for that top spot.
Definitely still fighting for that top spot, but you really hit it yesterday. Neither one really having the best of days, specifically UT Crew, because they were 3-1, as you mentioned, hovering over that first place spot and a chance to really lock it in and secure it, but went 0-2 on the day and was unable to lock in some of these series after even pulling away with the lead, right? So a little bit tough, I think, overall here for that squad, but at the same time, anything can happen at the as we're looking at the other squad overall too. I mean, they coming off of a loss here for Nemo, so these guys, I think they got reverse swept. That was was the last match of the night versus System, if I remember correctly, right? So like they're both bouncing back. It's a fresh day. However, I mean, it's all on the line. Like you really do have to come out with a win here, and we'll see if they've been able to go over anything to help them get there.
And for LAG in the System, our second match, Infinity, I mean, I think we were all very impressed with what the System was able to put together as far as a roster is concerned, with a lot of pro players and Zinks, but LAG Academy still look just as strong as we remember them from Stage 3.
Oh yeah, for sure. The System on paper is a party of a roster, right? You've got names on that team that are coming down from the CDL. These guys have been given opportunities, Decimate, Fellow Zed. All of them making their way down from spots in the CDL to challengers for Stage 4. They, of course, joined Zinks, who prior to Hire, unfortunately, making their departure from Call of Duty Challengers. He was a loyal member of Hire, represented them for the entirety of the season. It's created an interesting prospect of a team for sure, and one that's very powerful. Most certainly has the power to knock LAG Academy a peg down or two. And, you know, talking about this LAG Academy roster, it just is such an incredible story, really, I think, overall, and we'll get more in depth about this later on. Just what they've been able to achieve this season from strength to strength, effectively from obscurity. There was a point in time where this team was placing 128th in Challengers Cups and such.
Not good.
It's not good at all. But what they've been able to put together over the course of Stage 3 and Stage 4 is phenomenal, with Morks now on the team. But what makes this match important here is that LAG Academy, being one of those top 6 teams at the moment in our round robin stage, have the opportunity here. They have their destiny in their own hands. They want to put their hat into a ring for one of those playoff spots. They need to win this match. If they don't, they're stuck in the knockout bracket.
Well, we'll see when we get talk more about that when we get there. But let's take a look at the map set here for our first matchup. Nemo versus UT Crew on the cards for us. A little bit of Garrison to kick us off for both the Hardpoint and the Control Express for the Search and Destroy. And just kind of going back to the Nemo story, they've been the big surprises largely throughout this entire stage. I would go as far to say they've been the Cinderellas thus far. And for Nemo in specific, it's largely been their Hardpoint that's been able to kind of take over for us here, Austin.
That's right. It has been the Hardpoints, and they've been actually pretty consistent in the S&Ds and Controls as well, at 4-4 and 3-3. But that has been their best game, and we're talking about those respawns there for the map 1 and the map 4. They've been absolutely solid, and it's a little bit surprising, I think, when you're looking at this 4 on paper and saying, wow, like they're this strong in towards Hardpoint. But I think that we've honestly seen every single member actually step up in some big way in towards the respawns. Yesterday, I really feel like you got to hit Perform, because he was having himself an absolute heyday in a lot of those moments. But when we get towards the SCDs, that's when you see Ramby step things up for, as far as, you know, one of those shot callers here for this lineup. And Xylo and Archives, I mean, they've been a duo for quite a long time now throughout the Cold War season. So this team has just been meshing beautifully, and they are very fun to watch as well when they get going.
On the other side, UT Crew, a lot of their wins come throughout 4 maps, doing a lot of work onto the Hardpoint individually, but largely they're 3-3. They've done really well overall in the Control, kind of speaking to it. Not a lot of experience in the Garrison in particular here, Brody, but that's been, I think, the big kind of welcoming surprise for UT Crew, having a bit of a bailout on the map 3.
Yeah, for sure, right? If they can win this Control versus Nemo, I think that would be a huge overall. I think the story for a UT Crew here generally, right, is just so interesting, I think, on the whole. UT Crew last season, if you were to ask me at the end of Stage 3 if I thought UT Crew were going to make any change at all, I would have told you to go away. Like, no chance were they going to make a change. Of course, one kind of happened to them, right? Because Major Maniac kind of had to dip away. It wasn't exactly their fault. If Major Maniac's going to get the offer to go back to the CDL, you bet he's going to take it. So UT Crew, this is actually their 4th variation, I want to say now, of this roster we've seen from the very beginning of the season, including what we've seen in pre-season. That doesn't include what happened in between each elite stage, by the way, where of course you have the sort of the experimental phases where they're trying out different rosters and such. But something that's kept the same throughout the entirety of this season is Phantom and Morex. They are the core 2 of this UT Crew roster, a duo and a half. Hugely underrated players, and I think regardless of what map you put them on, they are going to slay out. Now joined by Methods and Slacked, I am very excited to see how this UT Crew roster is going to grow, provided they stick together, provided nobody on this roster gets picked up by a CDL team at the end of Stage 4 because somebody at the bottom of the CDL is struggling. Probably is going to happen now that I've said it. I just want UT Crew to have a good time, okay? Is it too much to ask?
Yeah. Yeah, I can totally understand that vibe. So let's talk just generally as we're waiting for the lobby to populate here. You know, overarching storylines. Nemo, they win this one. They've locked themselves at least into the top echelon of what's happened in the knockout bracket, if not potential of getting into the playoff bracket. And that means that they've automatically qualified for Stage 5. On the other front, for UT Crew, needing a win here to maybe give us one of those massive tiebreaker situations. Now, both teams are for sure safe. And really for the teams that are sitting at 3-3, You would think not much of an opportunity to get into the top 2 spots off the tiebreaker, but you just never know. So from Nemo's perspective, if they want to finish near the top 2 with a win here, Austin, who are your big players to watch, or what are your major keys to victory when it comes to the maps that we just saw and maybe some of the success that they've had throughout the year thus far in stage 4?
Sure. So like I said before, I think Perform is probably the player that's going to be able to carry what he did yesterday in towards the game today. He was just having a lot of big moments that was just changing, such a big impact on towards the map that was giving them the lead in towards some of these hard points. But I think when we're talking about the keys to victory specifically, they have to make sure they're still winning the HPs, and you have to make sure that you're punishing UT crew here in their S&Ds. That's, I think, really the big factor, right? They have a pretty sloppy record, and it's a little bit surprising because there's actually some pretty strong S&D players on that lineup overall, but it's just that 2 and 4. So I feel like for me, you need to come away with the hard points, come away with the S&Ds, and if you do that, then you very well might be able to wrap this one up heading in towards that map number 4. I think the controls are a little bit tough overall just because that's been their best game mode, so you might not win that one. So I'm looking at the hard points and the S&Ds.
UT crew, kind of the opposite question here for you, Brody. I mean, Garrison coming up, neither team all that gritted it overall, but it is that search and destroy that kind of feels like the thorn in the side. Do you feel like they need to win a search here in order to take this series and get to that tiebreaker situation, or are you looking somewhere else?
I would say overall here, against a squad like Nemo, even despite the fact that maybe they haven't had that much success in this season outside of stage 4 of Challengers Elite, they're still a very good team. And, for that reason alone, you kind of need to improve your search and destroy coming into this one. I know that's a massive ask, just to immediately, get it right like that coming into the final match of the stage. But if you're going to do it, you need to do it now, effectively. I would say one thing, and obviously I don't know if this has really been reflected so far in the veto process. I would have liked to have seen UT Crew try and stay away from some of the smaller maps we have here, because they are a very AR oriented team. You've got Phantoms and Methods on the same team. Like, if they can try and keep Nemo away from those sort of SMG oriented maps, it might go in their favor on those search and destroys. They might feel a little bit more comfortable.
It's just been really interesting, kind of speaking to this Nemo team. And I think it is important for us to spend a little bit more time talking about them, because largely throughout the North American stage 4 so far, it's either been former pro players or well-established challengers players. But you've got a team like Nemo who, realistically, none of them have been represented in Elite yet. This is a full-on debut for them. A number of players across a couple of other teams are finding themselves in the same situation, Sobriety being the most notable one of those two. But, we've seen this Zyril and Archives duo find a lot of success in the past, and it almost felt like, and I think you brought this up on the show yesterday, Austin, that it just took the right combination, because when they were playing with Sib, they even finished second in one of the Open Cups that they were playing in, and now all of a sudden with Rambi and Perform, they're finding themselves right back into the mix to possibly be a top team here in North America as we come down the home stretch to this season.
And when you kind of break it down, you figure out who's playing what. Like, Perform almost kind of fits what Sib is doing, where he's having these takeover moments, right, when they found success in that Open number 2. And then you have almost the same thing with Jimbo when we saw him on that original team. That kind of takes place, I feel like, when you're looking over Rambi, especially when you're talking about Search and Destroy, because Rambi is one of those really strong S&D players, playing a lot with like Teddy Rex and all these guys that are grinding the S&D scene, and has just spent years and years doing it. So I do feel like you get a lot of value from these two. And I think just to even hit on that a little bit harder, like, Rambi's someone who's actually missed out on the qualifiers quite a bit throughout the majority of this Challenger season, but has still been working, behind the scenes, actually years now. Whenever I think it was like Black Ops 4, he was playing with like Major Maniac and Teddy Rex in the qualifiers, and they've been in a trio for a very, very long time overall, but missed out coming in towards a lot of those games too. So I mean, he's been trying for a long time, and now that he's here, it's just awesome to see him, I think, at the top and beating a lot of teams, like you said, that are just established Challenger players or ex-pro players. And this team just has a lot to prove, and they've already surprised us.
It's just really electric, I think, because the first cup that they came together was way back during Cup 10, as I'm looking back, 6th place finish. So you have to be feeling like, all right, we'll give this a try, see what happens.
Sure.
All right, hey, this is working. Let's continue to try to use this and move forward. And then, of course, a couple weeks later, they would qualify just barely to get into this stage in particular. So yeah, really good stuff, I would say, just overall, just getting to a position to where you're finding the right formula and you're able to kind of iron out some of the creases, because that has been, I think, one of the big storylines going from Modern Warfare into this year. We were all kind of curious about what is the best way to find success going from 5v5 to 4v4 with a large talent pool around you. And Affinity last year, we saw a number of teams from both regions, Europe and North America, and I can't leave out APAC, I guess, because Renegades went flawless, but you stick together and the problems iron themselves out. that hasn't really been the case so far this year. So it is a little refreshing to see a team kind of sticking together after they find even a hint of success in their recent formation.
Yeah, I will say, you know, there have been success stories this year, specifically looking at Built by Gamers. You know, they're a team that I don't know if we're going to get to take a look at today. I don't believe we are, but they are going to be playing, obviously, their last match today. They, right, I would say, have found a lot of success this season. Not necessarily in managing to actually hit the finish line with their team that they've stuck together with, but most certainly in sort of, I guess, being consistent over the last few seasons. And I will say as well, generally speaking, I've been very critical of North America as a region for their rabid roster changes. I don't personally get it a lot of the time, but, you know, I can't criticize it when you've got a team now like this Nemo roster that roster changed themselves into what was a brilliant roster right out the gate, right? So sometimes things do just click like that. Obviously, we've heard from players across Europe and North America that the honeymoon period is a hell of a drug. Yeah, honestly, what do I know? Quite clearly, it works really well. Roster changes galore is how North America likes to play. And again, for teams like these guys, it works out. But I would like to see some more roster consistency across the last couple of stages of Challenge Elite. Because again, you know, I hate to give you guys a bit of sort of anxiety here, but we're heading towards the end of the season, guys.
We really are. And with stage 5 being the only thing waiting, we are just waiting on one more player to join us, but I want to spend some time talking about UT Crew on the other side, because obviously I think a lot of people that are kind of watching in are most interested in methods and Slack, in the importance of not just the stage 4, but also, of course, stage 5 into whatever it looks like for finals here in the amateur scene. That is your bargaining chip going into the off season. We've seen that be very successful for some players and very unsuccessful for others, Austin. So, I mean, I hate to kind of throw the individuals under the bus, but you have to feel like for Methods and Slack, this is do or die time when it comes to can you get back to that CDL, whether it's this year or especially next year.
I think in some ways, you know, it is like that. And I mean, they've been pretty vocal on socials for as far as, you know, how they're feeling and where their headspace at. Like Method thinks that this is one of his best games that, you know, that he's ever played in quite a long time. And he feels like it's almost being wasted away because he's not on a starting lineup. And I mean, that can be really difficult, you know, especially when you're dropping down after, you know, winning an event last year and coming off of a pretty successful year overall, and then coming down into what is, you know, fighting back up, you know, in the pit, so to speak, and trying to prove that you do deserve to come in towards next year on a starting roster. So there is a lot of additional pressure put on towards these guys who are vets, especially with this question of, you know, are the younger guys just better than these old vets who sure might be great at communicating, maybe able to shot call on the fly and can call some plays, but the mechanics, you know, are they there? Like, that's kind of what you're looking at in this young talent when we talk about these, you know, the next ups, like the Hydras, for example. Like, he's just insanely good and is communicating extremely well, and you can, you know, build that in towards these newer players. So yeah, I think there's a lot on the line for them overall, and we'll see if they can prove their worth today in just about a must-win matchup to show us that, hey, they still got it.
I'll let you guys get to it. We're finally loading in. Garrison for the first map. It's UT Crew and Nemo. Visions Infinity, take it away.
Thank you, Alan. Here we go, Brody. Got some North America challenges after some banger days in towards Europe. 2 best of 5s that went the distance for us, and now we'll go through 2 best of 5s on the day. But starting here, Nemo and UT Crew, we've been talking them up. Methods is already able to get off to a nice start for us. He finds that first kill, but Perform, the great SMG player for Nemo, looking to lock things down, and he can't do so as Slacks finds 2.
Yeah, and you mentioned the SMG players here for Nemo, right? I really am looking to them to start to step things up here for Nemo right out the gate. That could really be the key to victory that we're looking for here for Nemo against this UT Crew side, of course, and those players are going to be Perform and Archives going into this matchup. Of course, coming together as part of 2 separate duos. That's what the makeup of this roster absolutely is. But focusing on the hard point for the moment, it's going to be UT Crew in for the early time. Keep an eye on this rotation, though. You can already see players gravitating towards it on the top side of our mini-map. Archives wins a crucial one over there. UT Crew looking for control of it as Nemo fight for this scrap time. UT Crew haven't got control of those spawns for now.
This is really well done for Nemo. They actually did spawn on the unfavored side, yet get themselves in control of the back. But UT Crew do come away with the majority of the time, as Brody has said. Now it's about getting through, working yourself in towards the back, and they're not ready for Archives and Zyril, the duo here that stuck together for such a long time in Cold War. Already doing a great job off towards this map number 1, but Slack and Methods, a duo of their own, looking to try and get on in. Methods is tagged up heavily. Will have to overextend for the kill, however, does not have the support, and you can see the desperation from the front of the hill right there, and Ramby cleans up 2 off screen for us, Brody. This has been a solid hold thus far for Nemo.
Yeah, while all those gunfights are going on around the back, right, Zyral's perfectly happy to get that back line. Rambi actually picks up 2 huge kills in the front there. Massive for Nemo to hold on to this time. And now as we hit this 20-second mark, generally speaking, teams here on Garrison Hardpoint, you're not going to see them go for this hardpoint anymore. But look at those spawns. Oh no, this is not good for UT Crew. They still do have 2 players pushing through already for this scrap time, or for the rotation, sorry. Know that Archives is around here, but now this comes down to a 1 versus 1. Huge rotational gunfight. Archives can make it happen. He wants to do it quickly. Unfortunately, time, I think, was pressing there. He needed to make a play, had to do it swiftly. It just didn't go in his favor.
The good news is that you at least came away with a full 60, so you got a little bit of time to work with while trying to break the setup for UT Crew. And Archives, he gets right back off that spawn, finds a kill. 7-5 start for him. By breaking in, flipping up the spawns. That's the goal. And well, right through the front, Nemo have found their window. However, Slacked will shut it down. 6 straight in a row for Slacked, as this is going to be potential streak coming in towards the mix. And Nemo with 28 seconds left. They want to try to maybe send some resources in one more time.
Well, it wouldn't use to be fair. I mean, you already have those spawns for the new hardpoints. You may as well try and get UT Crew off this. Don't think they're going to be able to do it, though. Slacked is now on streaks, so he is 1 kill away from earning a cruise missile. That artillery strike is already in the back pocket here on a map such as Garrison. Those streaks can prove crucial, especially considering, what, 90% of the time, this game ends on P2. It happens so often, so that streak will be crucial later down the line if it does go down to the wire. For the moment, though, looking at this rotation here, Austin, it is going to be Nemo over there, ready to gain some time.
Yeah, great zoning so far, but Slacked, he's actually going to invest the streak very early on, finds 2 with that artillery, a lot of value with it. Zyral still hanging on towards top green means that there is still someone with eyes over the map. But Methods, ripping them apart, finds Rambi and Archives. That means that Phantoms is just sitting here all on the hill, and he's like, listen, all right, I'm collecting free time. Slack's finding doubles, Methods is finding doubles, and Nemo struggling to hold on towards that setup long enough as UT Crew will take the lead.
Slacked at the moment is having one hell of a game. 50 and 6. That was, what, a second little spree there from him, effectively shutting down UT Crew, or shutting down Nemo, sorry, inside green. UT Crew have been managing to wrap all this time since. And I was about to sort of criticize that streak invest, but it just, I don't know. I'm not so sure about criticizing it anymore. It was a pretty good play overall. UT Crew were able to get quite a lot of time off the back of it. Now, though, we turn our attention once again towards the rotation. It is Nemo over here, Slacked inside green. Want to try and make a move outside towards the satellite truck. Zyral and Rambi, though, with those first couple of bloods, will slow down any push that UT Crew kind of want to put together. But at this point, UT Crew, with those deaths, will be spawning out the back. Nemo, how quickly do you recognize this?
So far, it has taken a bit of time for UT Crew to get across the map, so that lead they built up the last 2 hills is only going to be about 6 points, and Perform, wow, the shots coming out of him from long range will be able to get 2. That's all orange in towards that kill feed, as UT Crew are going to have to try and set up for their next hit with only 20 seconds left. They're also thinking about P1 and trying to get some power positions intact for what will be the rotation here very, very soon. Perform thinking about it as he finds his 5th, has some support top green, and you now have green control. You got a lot of time off that last hill, but we will get a flip of the spawns as we see that new hill pop.
I don't want to cast a curse in, but getting these streaks for Perform would absolutely go a long way in order to maybe negate what Slacked has done with his 3 streaks earlier. Okay, all right, Slacked, buddy, come on, calm down now. Perform is able to get 6, though. That's actually going to be on a Slack. 1 more kill, and it will be an artillery strike. So there it is for Perform. Another one. And a cruise missile will be on board for Nemo. What a turnaround this has been, by the way. In the last couple of hard points, they've managed to come back down from a 40-point deficit or so. Now in the lead, Perform just 1 kill shy of a cruise missile. Great position for Nemo to find themselves here if he can get this streak.
Listen, Slacked almost has more kills than his whole team combined at the moment, and he's doing 360s on his opponents. I mean, it's looking just absolutely deadly. We need some help here from UT Crew, and no one's been able to do it. You mentioned the streaks here, Brody. Perform still on 7, and that very likely might just come through with the setup. We see Rambi, though, doesn't have the gun up in time, so Dylan Rex does have a chance to be able to flip out the spawns, and you're seeing player 8 actually come on through. That is Slacked. They have the ability now to set up a pinch. Methods just looking for the player inside the hill. Perform 1 away from that cruise missile. Will be able to bring it home, but still has to deal with the rest of the pressure from UT Crew. 1 more challenges and 1 more goes down. Perform doing it all at the moment, and we'll look to call in the streaks, but underneath, Slacked will find him with the assault rifle. Archives just trying to flood in towards the point, manages to take out a teammate here, but UT Crew should be able to hold on towards the time.
I'm not entirely sure if bringing out the laptop a little bit there is going to actually use the ping for that streak. Not entirely sure what the situation is on that, but regardless, Nemo or UT Crew now may actually know that Perform has those, or at least one of those streaks to work with. It is going to be UT Crew coming in here for the last 20 seconds of time, and now you're kind of in this unique position if you're a Nemo, where realistically speaking, you kind of have to make a decision. Do you want to go in for the scrap time? The answer, of course, is going to be no. They had one player over there, but decided to go for a rotation instead. This is actually going to be a rotation, technically speaking, at a disadvantage here. Performers spawn out on the other side of the map, so this has to be Zyril, Rambi, and Archives over here just doing it all by themselves for the moment. But of course, they're able to get it done. The AR prowess is pretty good here over on Generator Hardpoint. And again, another opportunity here for Nemo to start to take the lead by a soaring amount.
Crew got a full 60 last time on this hill, but now they need to break it, getting towards the back. As Phantoms finds one back here. Zyril still going to spawn in, but his teammates are not with him. Zyril needs to go big, and he can't. That will be the flip. UT Crew well focused in and around this hill, as they might just be good for the next 30 seconds. Phantoms cleaning up the middle of the map. That's 8 in a row for him. And, well, there are a set of streaks, and, well, one spawns right in front of him. And Phantom says, all right, I'll take 9. Reads it beautifully, apparently. I certainly wouldn't have read a spawn back there. And that means that UT Crew will, once again, come out with a massive net positive on towards this hill and might even be able to take over with all the streaks they have available.
You ever just gag watching a player do something? I feel like that's happened twice right now. Slacks kind of made me throw up in my internals earlier. Phantom's now doing it again with that kill inside the player inside spawn. UT Crew off the back of that break have now managed to get a lead here. It is going to be a relatively not so great one. It's about 10 points or so, but they can definitely blow this game open once again as we move over towards this next hard point. Nemo going to be spawning out over towards Generators, and that streak from Perform going to try and get UT Crew out of this hard point. We saw Slack do it to Nemo before. Now it is going to be a streak coming in here from Perform. And look at Phantoms. He's just going to use his right back. This is Streak Central, baby. And UT Crew might just come out on top. No, the streak's not actually going to be all that useful. Zyril will survive it, able to pick up 1 off the back of it. And Nemo still have control of the power position around the hard point.
Oh, Rambi with a good read. Trying to hang on towards top green. Might have to deal with Phantoms as well. Catches him on the sprint. Nice off angle. Rambi gets 2 in the back, and that forces Rex now to actually backtrack a bit in towards Bricks. And, well, no way. I think Rambi's actually been able to finesse. Does try to go to the pistol, and it will be no good against Slack's 74U. This game, just about dead even. 9 points separating the two. UT Crew in the lead. Trying to get top green control will be Phantoms, but Zyril will deny them the opportunity. No one's inside of the hill, however, as everyone's just playing the perimeter and trying to get some kind of a setup intact, but this will now give maybe a bit of room for a Perform to press forward.
This game could not be closer at the moment. UT Crew, they have a very slight advantage over Nemo. Nemo, though, back into this hard point for the last 30 seconds of time. Still a little bit of work to be done to lock it down. Method's going to take down Rambi inside. You've got Zyril over towards Offices. That is a player that needs to be dealt with, but Method's about to counter 2 players over towards Bricks. Archives takes some shots, thinks better of it for the moment, wants to regroup, and Rambi, all right, a little bit of teammates coming in. Archives gets taken down. Friendly fire means that UT Crew will be allotted a little bit more time off the back of this. No way,
wow,
Slacked!
good shots.
Oh my God, Slacked is beaming right now. Picks up his 28th kill here in this game. UT Crew, though, even with Slack performing like this, they haven't got a solid lead here whatsoever. Nemo's still hot on their heels.
Very scrappy game, and I think the majority of the streaks have been used. There was a cruise missile available for Perform, and I don't think he used that. So we'll see if that ends up coming into play. However, Zyril, 3 in a row. We'll have that Craig 6 over here. We take a look at the top right, and, well, actually do see some streaks maybe available overall. So not too bad. We'll see if they can, in fact, make good use of them. 196 to 207 now, as actually the game clock is even coming down to under a minute. So this is just a very intense map number 1, and Zyril still on 4, has a chance to work towards streaks of his own, but he's just focused on cutting off this rotation as UT Crew, trying to soak up the remaining 20 seconds on P1.
This is a position that Zyril needs to keep hold of, regardless of what happens down low. Oh, Phantoms, that's huge, but Zyril needs to keep that position up top. If he loses it, there's an opportunity for UT Crew to close this one out on the rotation, and Phantoms wins that gunfight, and that 3-piece there. It's a bit of a bladed one, but nonetheless a 3-piece. It effectively shuts down a rotation for Nemo. Phantom's work far from over. And I'll tell you what, he's not going to go to his Crig 6 to get this one done. He's going straight in for the cruise missile. We'll pick up 1, but the cruise missile from Perform comes through on the other side. It's cruise missile central this time around, Austin. And Nemo will come off better for it.
Oh, I have not seen that. We see a bunch of kills come through with the cruise missile, but it's still going to be Nemo inside of the point. They cannot win it here, but UT Crew, if they break, they could still end. Only 20 seconds needs to come through for them. And they're working in towards the back as Perform needs to lock this down. Takes a peek, finds Rex, is going to predict Phantoms, and will be able to destroy him up close. The double is there, and Nemo ever so close to closing this one out, but only 16 seconds remaining means we're going to at least one more hill.
And it's UT Crew. They're over here on the rotation. All they got to do is zone off the map here. Cut the map. Make sure that Nemo cannot get through. Method. A huge one. Zyral's going to win it. And look at the swarm of orange arrows on the minimap here, Austin. Rex, he is in a horrendous position. All on his lonesome. Needs to play hero. He's able to pick up one. Support is on the way. The cavalry is on its way. But how fast can it come? The game timer now on the cards as well here, Austin. And UT Crew and Nemo neither can get a hold of a hard point.
Oh, Nemo, they just need to keep them off the hill. UT Crew, they're the ones that have to go, and Phantoms, it's tagged up very low. Ramby able to find them in through the back. Methods will come, but he's got to find a three-piece, and he can only come up with one. Nemo, a couple more seconds will get the job done. A very long hard point as one more contest comes in, but it will still be a closeout, 250 to 230.
Oh my goodness me, streaks galore. You couldn't ask for much more out of a hard point on Garrison. What a game there. UT Crew started a little bit slow. They started to heat up in the middle of that map or so. They gained themselves actually a slight advantage, which for a very long time there, Austin, Nemo, they couldn't quite bring it back. They were down by 20 to 30 points perpetually for a few hard points in a row. But towards the end, the streak face-off goes in the favor of Nemo. They're able to get basically the full time off the back of P2, and then they win the crucial rotational engagement. Austin, what an opener to what is going to be a thriller of a night here in North America.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that so far in towards the game, where Phantoms was in his cruise missile, Perform was in his, and yeah, like 5 kills came in a row in the feed that were just the cruise missile. We'll probably get another look at it as we go through the replays here, but there was just a lot of intense moments, and it was once again one of those games that was in the hands of both teams. But we look at those final rotations as you know, the ending factor that plays out there in favor of Nemo, and they're able to, of course, close it. But UT Crew, I mean, they certainly have their chances. I think the biggest factor that we saw, Brody, is that Slacks had an insane first rotation of kills. Yeah. I mean, he actually had almost more kills than his entire team combined. But as the game got longer and longer, Slacks started to slow down a little bit, and that's when we started to see Nemo work back in towards this one.
I will say as well, you know, in the middle of that game, I was actually wanting to give props a little bit to Phantoms and Rex, because they started out the game with like some crazy, not great stat line, like four kills, I swear, is what Phantom started off with within the first rotation or something. It was not a good stat line whatsoever. And you look at actually where he finishes, right? Well, it was like 28, 29 kills in the end here. That is an insane comeback from both him and Rex, and not to mention Methods as well. It's kind of unfortunate that UT Crew just took a little bit too long to get their feet off the ground there, is unfortunately too little too late, and they end up losing map number 1. But again, I mean, it's very, very rare in Hardpoint for us ever to go to game time. It doesn't happen, like, ever, and that just goes to show how competitive our map number 1 in this best of 5 was.
Yeah, it happens very rarely, but when it does, it's the Garrisons and it's sometimes the Moscows as well, right? the contest and just battling in and around the P1s on both of those hills, actually, on both maps. It very likely happens all the time. You don't want to be the first one to challenge, and just a lot of that time goes to game block. There was even like a P5 hill where they weren't really getting on it overall, but it was like 20 seconds in and no one had touched. So a lot of time goes there, and that puts the pressure on even more to kind of make a move. But in the end, Nemo hold out, and they get that map number 1. We said that locking down the hard points could certainly be a window to closing out this series, but now we move in towards S&D on Express, Brody, and we have heightened that UT Crew have not found a whole lot of favor so far in towards this game mode. This is actually their weakest game mode, and you do not want to have to rely on your Garrison Control, even though that is your best game mode heading in towards a map 3. It's just, you want to be able to respond, maybe shut Nemo down a little bit, take away that momentum, because they got to be feeling absolutely great when you play a banger hardpoint like that and come out on top.
Oh yeah, for sure, right? I mean, your blood's going to be flowing at the end of that map number 1, right? So the momentum, you know, we always talk about momentum coming out of map victories like that all the time here in competitive Call of Duty. But when something like that happens, just a huge dub in map number 1. And of course, you know, the momentum going to the map number 2 is going to be huge, especially, you know, they kind of know they have the stats as well here that, you know, UT Crew's Search and Destroy isn't great. You know, they have those stats on their end. So they'll kind of be pretty confident about going in this one. Of course, pretty much every team, I believe, has a coach one way or another. So the coach will probably be letting them know, like, hey, you guys know that you just smashed a game mode that you needed to win, especially considering that was their strength in this series. But, for you here, Austin, with this UT Crew roster, what do they need to do here to kind of improve their search and destroy, given what we've seen from them so far?
I feel like pull the strats from 10 years ago, because Methods and Slack, they were playing this map for us 10 years
That's
ago,
true.
Brody. So gotta think deep and long about what you were doing a long time ago. But in all seriousness, I feel like the big factor is don't give room for some of these players like Rambi and Perform to actually, find these takeover moments, or, find these moments where they're making the plays. I think you really need to look out for them on towards the map and be well aware if they are alive, because they will look to try and make some of those risky play calls even to find an advantage. So I think that's one of the key factors. But overall, I really do think it's going back to your roots and just playing together as a team. The teams that are finding success right now on Express Search and Destroy are the teams that are making the right play calls in the right moments, whether that's a hard counter, sending 4 players over towards B or A, or playing for successful retakes on the defensive side of things, because that is something that is pretty critical when we're talking about Express Search and Destroy. However, we'll see if UT Crew have done any improvements towards their Search and Destroy, Brody, because if not, they're going to be going down 0-2.
And just a reminder for you folks at home, UT Crew, they need to win this match to keep their hopes of a place in the playoff bracket for Stage 4 of Challengers Elite in North America alive. Nemo, on the other hand, well, they'll want to win this just to try and solidify those hopes. Of course, currently already 4-2. But getting in this Search and Destroy pretty early on here, Nemo have been kind of gifted First Blood by UT Crew.
Oh my, I mean, they're just going to run all the way through A. And Dylan Rex is going to hide inside of the train. Methods does find 1 kill there, but Rex finds the window to make his play. Is he going to read Zyral up top? He does! Rex for 2. Beautifully done, and Perform forced to come in towards this one with a 1 versus 2, and Slacked is watching over Rex. That was just honestly beautiful. Come right through the site, take over it, no hesitation, and Rex's double really seals the deal.
Can't lie there, right out the gate. That is realistically a round where you should be looking at Nemo to win that. They already got that First Blood, right? So you feel like, UT Crew got that First Blood. You feel like they've got control of that bomb site though, and I think they had like nobody over there from UT Crew in that position. They actually did not. So right, it should have been Nemo trying to get that bomb down straight away. Overzealous play though, unfortunately they're not able to win out the round. So UT Crew going to be starting this one pretty strong. Now I'm going to see what they're able to do on the defense, going for a 3-1 setup. The one player, unfortunately, on his lonesome over towards B. That's going to be Chef Tony. Let's see if he can cook up a storm.
Oh, Methods, he's not going to read this fully. He at least does take some shots down low and backs up with his life. So we'll start to see some of the members rotate for the side of UT Crew, but playing a retake on towards this side comes off of finding that first pick and making sure Perform is not going to be able to beam you. And well, Perform does exactly that. Spots out Slacked on towards the street, but will get traded from Rex. So 3 versus 3 we go with 28 seconds left.
Just going down, you got to make sure you take down Rambi and Zyral from the back line. That's exactly what they do, and how quickly the dominoes have fallen in this round. Archives kind of need to just waste time. Are UT Crew going to allow that to happen, though? Absolutely not. And what a retake from UT Crew. And I got to say as well, I know it sounds pretty obvious considering he's 5-0, but Rex makes that entire thing happen. The fact that he's able to just swing out and go for Rambi, who I believe, or I think it's actually Perform. He was up on the sign.
Perform, yeah.
Yeah, just like, look at it. I think we're going to see it here. Look at the confidence of this, right? Swings out, sees him, beams. Goes for more kills, beams. What a play from Rex.
Yeah, and that was great comms too, because you knew Perform was tagged up with that battle against Phantoms, and Rex just takes advantage of it and then pushes down low, makes sure Zyral is unable to make any magic happen. And that was just really well done as Brody is framed up for us. UT Crew, looks like maybe they have done a little bit of work on towards Express Search and Destroy. Certainly helps that you have Slacked and Rex that have not died yet, but you have to bring into the conversation that Rex is maybe going to be able to earn these streaks. Just going to need a kill or 2 there. Did also lock in the defuse, but Phantoms, he's going to make some noise down low in the terminal, will be pushed back, as we'll see UT Crew collapse on towards the A site. That's wide open again.
And this time, I need to see UT Crew to scrumple this bomb. Of course, we saw Nemo not take advantage of this earlier on. And they're going to do it here. So UT Crew get this bomb down now. Nade's going to come out. That'll make Rex weak, but he will be able to get away with his life. And if anything here for UT Crew, you're still pretty early on in this Search and Destroy. make sure you preserve those streaks that are on the cards from Rex. But look at this from UT Crew. They're just driving this one home relatively easily. Look at that round from UT Crew. Nemo, they kind of got stuck between a rock and a hard place there. Of course, the rock being two UT Crew players and the hard place being two other UT Crew players.
That teamwork was spectacular. Right here, we'll see a little glimpse of it where Method's is like, listen, I'm waiting. And then Perform has to watch to the back because they know Slack is there. And then Archives looks forward, Perform looks forward, and Slack comes sliding out. That was just really well coordinated despite a lot of chaos taking place right and around that site. But UT Crew, they're not fooling around, are they, Brody? They are just streaking out. Rex is on 5. Methods and Slack are on 3. Phantoms, well, he hasn't gotten a kill, but that's fine because he's just peppering them up, weakening them up for UT Crew to move in here with the other 3 members that are really having an excellent game. But round number 4, Nemo, they really need to respond. And Archives is going to be low here. Methods is pinned. And I don't think they know he's here. And that means that Methods is going to get away with a free kill.
Can he get a second as well? Yes, he can. And look at that from UT Crew. Methods getting 2 kills there. Devastating to the Nemo offense. And, you know, they don't check this, to be fair. Generally speaking, if you've already cleared it out, if Methods have made no noise, I don't really blame them for not checking it. But, I mean, it's a fatal error. Methods able to capitalize on it. UT Crew at the moment, for all we were kind of talking about maybe what was going wrong for their Search and Destroy so far here in Challengers Elite Stage 4. It's looking pretty good at the moment. Rex still has streaks on the cards also.
He's got to be so close. He's got a defuse and a plant, and then 6 kills. 7 brings in the artillery, so, like, I mean, you could just, like, pump just a little bit more in towards that bar, and it'll bring home both streaks. Just needs to get it done. However, Slack finds first blood. Archives with a very well-placed Semtex. We'll trade one back over. This is the first time Nemo have actually had members inside of Control, and Methods is able to pick Perform. Rex gets awful timing, so that means the streaks did not come through, but you still have Zinni, who's on 6, working towards streaks of his own, and I would love to see him slow things down completely with this minute and either work for this kill or just play your life for the next round.
For sure. At this point, that bomb is in no man's land. You kind of know that Zyril and Archives are going to be playing around it, right? So for Methods here, I think the play is absolutely... You have some rounds to play with here, trying something experimental. Just look for this first kill against Zyril. Has just seen him, but of course Zyril seen Methods also. Just looking for one of these kills to earn that artillery strike. Could be very valuable later on. He gets it. Now play your life here from Methods. You're in a 1 versus 1. If you get the round, why not? Oh! If you get the round, why not? And Methods shoot the bodies. Normally, I'll be like, why are you doing that? Bad juju. But you're 5-0 up. You just won a 1 versus 2 that were effectively gifted there at the end. What a play here from Methods.
Yeah, my bad. I'll hold my tongue next time. Methods just says, I'm not waiting till the next round here. I'm going for it. I can clutch this up, and well, apparently he can. So not only does he come away with a set of streaks here, but also brings home the round. So this one, I mean, it's just about impossible to throw away here. Nemo have gotten nothing done in towards a lot of the rounds. You could not even use the streaks and probably still close things out with the way they've been playing, but we will see that bomb work its way over towards B.
Austin, look, if Nemo come back and win this, if they win this 6-5, if they pull off the full sale with Methods having streaks, I will buy you an entire batch of cookies. Chocolate chip cookies. Yeah, it's going to happen. Nemo, let's see if they can make it happen. 2 versus 3 here. Austin, I'm afraid. I don't know if you're going to get your cookies, buddy.
Might not. I need Methods to choke here. And well, Ramby, all right. All right. Slack, though, right behind him. Archives is backing him up. Slack's not in the best position. His teammate's not here. And Archives is able to work for the kill. But Rex, oh, does he have a 1 versus 2 in him? We saw Methods do it in the last round. He's going to be chased, but might be able to slip away in time. And Ramby doesn't pick up the bomb and actually might catch Rex slipping in the corner. They'll bump into each other, but oh, another 1 versus 2. Certainly a chance for Nemo, but it will be a denied. A clean sweep for UT Crew in the map 2 to tie things up.
My head is in my hands. Oh my god. Rex has just won that 1 versus 2. Incredibly well played. I mean, just the last 2 players left alive there. It's kind of unfortunate, really, because I don't necessarily believe they knew exactly where Rex was there in that positioning, so he just had the advantage. The element of surprise, I suppose, able to get the way. Perfect 1 versus 2 from him. On the whole, though, 6-0 Search and Destroy. Didn't expect that, Austin. What the hell?
No. That... Like, I would never have predicted that, ever, especially knowing that UT Crew are 2-4 overall in S&Ds. So coming in towards this one, I thought maybe they could put up a fight, give us some rounds, but in the end, I certainly was favoring Nemo. However, there was just a good opening to it. Like, Express is just in this position, and it's so much different from how we saw it in Black Ops 2, where you are just essentially hard countering rounds, where you're just sending 3 or 4 players to each site. And the 2 rounds that started off there for the defensive side of things for Nemo, they tried to do those hard counters towards B, and all the action kept coming over towards A for UT Crew. So that was just great shot calling, great awareness, and they were able to take advantage of it multiple times as we see them just collect round after round and then start clutching up in some 1v2s as well.
That's what's crazy to me, right? It's not just, you know, they played really well as a team, but there were just some crazy clutch moments there from Methods, and then of course from Rex at the end, where we see him win this 1v1 against Rambi. Absolutely huge there from UT Crew. Clutch factor 100 out of 100. Austin, I'm very sorry that there is no batch of cookies for you at the end of that search and destroy. I'm sure if you ask Methods nicely, he'll donate some to you, considering he kind of took that potential of cookies away from you. Anyway, UT Crew tie up the series at 1-1. Crazy storylines here in the first match of our North American final batch of matches for the round robin stage in stage 4. We now go to the swing game in the series. It's going to be Garrison Control. Austin, for Control between these two teams, technically speaking, UT Crew, they have a better record.
They do. They do have a better record overall. And this is probably something that's going to be even better for them now, because you just 6-0'd on your worst game mode, and now you're heading in towards one of your best game modes. So this is, I think, honestly, so uplifting for the side of UT Crew, especially struggling throughout yesterday, going 0-2. This is what you want to see. And, I mean, that was even a wild map number 1. For anyone that was just tuning in, was like, whoa, 6-0, map number 2. Well, listen, map number 1 was, like, down to the game clock. Like, there was 8 seconds left there, and Nemo were just able to close out enough time to get on towards that point. So this has been a very close affair up and towards the Express, where it just felt like Nemo were unable to kind of find their feet underneath themselves and really get back in towards it. But you have to shake that off, and this is where we start talking about a lot of the subs, because, you know, some things do certainly translate from Garrison Hardpoint over towards Garrison Control, yeah, where that does play a pretty big factor. Like, people like Perform, who was having, you know, a really good game, can look to implement that exact same strategy in towards Garrison Control, where a lot of those things fall in line. But Zyril also, I feel like we have to mention for that map 1, had a pretty nice map overall, right? 37, I think he put up, got a set of streaks, or just fell short near the end there, and you know, might be able to play a pretty big impact going in towards the Garrison Control as well for them.
Yeah, for sure, right? And you spoke about Perform with his SMG role. It was actually Zyril and Rambi were, you know, for me, those players, I think they both dropped at least 30 kills in that first Garrison Hardpoint. So actually, I know that Garrison is generally speaking an SMG orientated map, but I normally would be saying, yeah, Perform and Archives would be the players to be looking for. But Zyril and Rambi, they are the players for me that I want to be looking for on this Nemo roster. But for UT Crew, I mean, I'll be talking about the whole damn roster at this point, given the way that S&D went.
Well, we're already well in towards this one, as we have seen just about 30 seconds go by, but no ticks have been secured. UT Crew, of course, on the attack, looking to make something happen in and around B, where they have been able to inch up a little bit. But it's about actually getting there and stopping the clock, and that's going to be pretty difficult when you got Archives up top, raining hell from above, able to find Slack, but he loses all his teammates in and around him, meaning that both zones could be up for grabs here. We'll see Rex make his way over towards A. That B zone being pressured right now from Phantoms and Nemo. They're going to have to dedicate all their resources to A to clear that out.
They've got the players on the point for the moment. Nemo kind of want to get on the point sooner rather than later. Zyril's going to throw a nice nade in. That will bring Phantoms down to pretty unhealthy amount of HP. He's now going to have a couple of players to take on. He's going to have to do it all by his lonesome for the second. Phantoms, unfortunately, won't be able to do it, but honestly, it's not a terrible start here for Nemo, or for UT Crew, sorry. They're able to get 2 ticks of progression on B. Now the next task is, with 30 seconds left, you've got to get out of this spawn trap.
Yeah, getting out. Always easier said than done, but they have actually been able to inch up and clear out all the players that were pushed forward for Nemo, and I think this is just going to be a call to chalk the zone. All those orange arrows there in the bottom left-hand corner will simply just shift over towards Bricks and hold on towards the SATCOM truck. And now UT Crew need to make a decision how they're going to break this. In towards Bricks, they look to go. Rambi slides across, does get tagged up with an nade, and Slacked looking to make that move as the entry SMG. Just a kill so far, but a chance to break things open wide. Could be in the cards. Archives, though, will deny that opportunity. Nice double out of him, and that's going to slow things down from the front.
60 seconds on the clock for UT Crew to make this push work. They do not currently have the numbers, as Archives and Rambi are going to pick up a couple of kills. Nemo here effectively boxing UT Crew in to the rat side of the map. Gonna need to regroup here if you're UT Crew to try and go at this as a team. Rex able to pick up 2 kills. UT Crew have an opportunity here. There is a window of opportunity to get onto this point, but Rex is gonna be key for it. He needs to get a couple of kills here. He's able to get 1. There's the couple! Rex, hello! And UT Crew back on form. Rex switches to the Krig 6 to put some shots in a Rambi. There needs to be a swath of Nemo players on this point right now.
Well, it's only Methods on the point, but maybe that's all you need. Methods there for 2. Perform is going to push and find the trade, but in from the back, Slacked almost able to find an opening of his own. Rex is there for the trade, and right back on the point will be UT Crew. Nemo going to have to set up their break attempt. Archives, the first one in. Checking up top, able to find Phantom. Slides to his right, but can't find Dylan Rex. But it's Zyral and Perform. They will clean up the point, and now UT Crew got 1 solid push left.
That's all it is. 1 push left, and you don't really have the time to think about it as well. There's 15 or so seconds left on this clock. Archives has pushed up the map. He's in a position where he could pounce on a couple of players. He's able to do it. Zyral picks up 1 inside bricks. This is effectively a 2 versus 2 on the point, and you got to go right now. Methods, can he win the 1? Yes, he does. Slack wins 1 on the point as well. They can get this done, Austin, but it's going to have to be on the new boys on the block for UT Crew. Slacks and Methods. 2 of the fantastic 4, and they get it done. They get the help. Oh my goodness, UT Crew, they make it close, but an offensive wing to kick things off.
Wow, that play from Methods in the back bricks here where he throws that Semtex down and wins that battle is really one of the key factors to make sure that they have more than 1 player on the point, because you just didn't have all the support there, but that was a lot of clutch gunfights that came through at the end of that round to make sure that no one for the side of Nemo could actually get there to touch, and we saw it from Perform. He was trying to contest and just play with those couple extra seconds, but the problem is that if you get off that zone, the cap is for sure coming through, and once they found the kill, that's what happened. So UT Crew coming through, holding strong in their best game mode in towards stage 4 challengers, but the job is not done. Now they're going to have to lock things down on the defense, and Nemo have their shot in their first attack as they find the first blood and actually make that the first 3 as they clean up house.
Oh, I'd be pretty content with that if I was Nemo. Able to get the first wave of kills here. There should be at least 1 tick of progression onto B. UT Crew will take a few seconds to reform and make their way back onto the point for a defensive hold. I don't even know if they're going to get an opportunity to do it here, Austin. Zyral picks up that first kill against Methods. That should stave off any defensive hold, and it will for the entirety of the time. What a start out the gates from Nemo. They've lost 1 life, and they've already captured B.
Oof. 2 minutes worth of time on Garrison Control. This is where you just slow things down and say, listen, guys, like, we're in a really strong position to be able to take an offense right back, and Perform is getting the work done in towards the back here. Zyral, who's on 4, might just have streaks in play if he keeps this spree going. It's Rex they have to get through, though, in and around the SATCOM truck. Archives gets 1 in the back. Still Rex alive, finally dealt with from Perform. Trophy systems go down. Setup looking solid. First tick is in, and now UT Crew. Pressure is on, and they don't have all 4 just yet to push in.
UT Crew do not want to get stuck between rock and a hard place here. You've got to go now. You do have 1 secret weapon. That's going to be Phantoms in behind, and the secret weapon, well, it explodes, and UT Crew successfully going to get Nemo away from the point, just a sliver away from a capture. So, I mean, realistically speaking here, UT Crew far from out of the danger zone just yet. Nemo with 1 good push could end this round. And I was going to say, Rambi is in a great position here to pin some movement the hill with his teammates. Unfortunately, it is now just him inside green. Although the way he's playing at the moment, he's able to pick up 1 kill. Now going out for the second here. Methods on the SAT truck. Doesn't want a piece of the action just yet. Now has the backup from Zyral.
Long time, though. Burned. Just coming down to a minute 14. They'll hop on the point 1 more time, but it's just all white in that kill feed. Randy would have to do it himself. That's not going to happen. Still, 1 tick is all you need to lock in this offensive round, but UT Crew making them fight tooth and nail for it. Methods holding top green. Nice to end up Perform. Pushes them out of the power position. Simply will back away, though, and once there's 1 AR, there's a second. Phantoms might have to do the same, and Perform won't give them the opportunity to slip away, so you find that first one. However, the kills in the back have not come through. A solid hold out of Rex and Slack, but Archives does finally deal with 1 of the submachine guns. Will he find a second? Perform trying to get something done for the front, but again, the solid hold here, Brody, from UT Crew. They are just not letting anyone from Nemo slip on in.
Every time there's some bright hope of light coming in for Nemo to try and assault the backline. UT Crew have an answer for it. Every single time, there's always a burst of 2 or 3 kills where Nemo just get battered away, and here it is again from Rex. He's able to pick up 2, now just reduced to Zyril and Perform in the backline, trying to make it out. Zyril is shut down, Perform is shut down, Method's on a killing spree, and UT Crew, now all they have to do is make sure Archives and Rambi don't get in through the front. Methods is there for it. He's able to pick up 1. Rambi gonna have to back away. And if you want this round, you need to just slide out and get another point right now. They're not able to get it done. UT Crew, of course, a solid defense for, a minute 40 there? That was a crazy defense.
Yeah, they had over 2 minutes worth of time to actually play with. They got that first zone extremely fast, but it was just that the break that came through, I think, at about a minute 10 or so. And once they lost that setup on the zone there for the side of Nemo, they were unable to reestablish it. They were unable to find the entries back in towards the actual control zone. And from there on out, I mean, you could just see it. Nemo just coming down to the clock. They had to make pushes happen, and they were not allowed. And now Methods, as you highlighted there, right before the end of round 2, is on a streak. 6 in a row for him. Hasn't got that artillery just yet, but you know he's damn close and just needs 1 more kill.
And that would be huge for UT Crew. You could use that to effectively zone off these control zones. They are able to get this first wave of kills as well. I mean, UT Crew would be in such a good position to close out this game. Rex goes for the punch shot instead of the shot punch. Unfortunately, of course, that doesn't work out inside the office area, but Phantoms and Methods able to follow up 2 kills of their own. UT Crew now looking to capture this zone. And Nemo, I mean, they've kind of been reduced on the defense down to just 1 player inside office, and Methods gets the streaks, doesn't even need to take the gunfight. Of course he does also, because Methods is just that man. Now streaks in the back pocket. You can bet your backside he'll be using them very shortly to try and capture this A zone.
Yeah, once they find, a couple of kills here and loosen up a bit of the map pressure, I bet you they will very likely come on in, or they'll come in once they're on the zone. One of the two. Either way. 2 minutes of time to work with. Making your way over towards this A point. They're going to clean up Rambian towards the middle of the map. No one else is pressed forward for Nemo, so they're forced to play a little bit defensive in this very instance, as Dylan Rex is going to pick up the Krig. We'll see Methods. He's going to actually drop the artillery, trying to force them maybe in towards green. They'll come on down, but they won't find anything. And Zyril and Archives, they win their one-on-one engagements, as Methods is just going to hold his life up top, and he gives them 1 more challenge, but Zyril will have none of it. What's him now on 3 in a row?
I gotta say, I'm a little bit confused by the coordination from UT Crew there. If you use the streak, your players kind of need to come out, because you're not streaking plat, right? You streak plat first, and then you should be immediately telling your teammates to follow up and get out there, because the player of, I think it was Zyril, runs outside, has enough time to get back in, and you just shouldn't be allowing that to happen. So that is a wasted streak there for UT Crew. One that they'll regret using in that manner. Of course, they do still have the cruise missile to close it out here in round number 3. But Perform able to come through. I don't think Rex and Methods were expecting that, quite frankly. I don't think they're expecting Perform to just slide on out and try and take him on.
And that could be a bit of a tilting play too, right? Where you're trying to set up and coordinate this hit and getting everyone in the right position to do it, and then something like that happens and catches them off guard. It does leave Slack, though, in the back. Archives, big win. Make sure Slack is not going to do any damage back there. Still, time to play with. But 0 ticks have come through towards the A zone. Methods with a quick peek. And try and figure out some of the positions here for the side of Nemo. He finds Perform. And Perform is able to just dip and dive right back under. Just trying to cause some havoc in the middle of the map. But will be taken down from a team kill. Rambi, however, responds with Phantoms. And now Brody. 25 seconds left. UT Crew. They're going to do this right from top green.
Here's the second streak as well. Archives, he's going to go straight for it. This is a really smart play from Archives. I think it's the only play you could actually make in that position. And now it's going to be Slacked and Rex inside. Methods and Phantoms will be following up soon to try and just stack this hardpoint. Zyril tries to play this heady with the Krig 6. He's only able to get 1 though. Weak will have to go for the re-challenge sooner rather than later here, because it's 3 players onto the point. Zyril's only able to get 1, and that should close the door on this game. Perform and Rambi, can they touch the point? They're going to try and slide out for it, but too little too late. UT Crew, they get it done in 3.
They get it done in 3. Certainly gets a little too close there, but in the end, the streaks will pay off as they get dropped at the end of the round for Methods, and that cruise missile just essentially locks everyone inside of bricks as they do collapse, find the kills, and Nemo just Unfortunately, falls short there in towards the end. That was just honestly great control play, and Methods also has a really big game there for us. Brody putting up a nice number with that Krieg 6, which isn't always easy to do on a map like Garrison. However, Methods able to get the job done and do it.
I mean, we were talking about the Search and Destroy looking assured from this UT Crew roster. I didn't expect the Control to go like that, and I know that UT Crew obviously had a better record coming into this. In Control, quite clearly, they're a proficient team in that game mode, but as you guys can see in the highlights right now, UT Crew just had a whale of a time. It was continual as well, and you look at that round number 2, which we're seeing at the moment, where Nemo just didn't get a look in. It was a solid 2 minutes, as you already said, right, Austin, where UT Crew were just dealing with wave after wave after wave of Nemo players, and it was just continuous. It was a perpetual sort of, it was kind of, felt a little bit like Survival from Modern Warfare 3, if you remember that, where it's just like wave of players coming at you, right? Yeah. And it's just like, they had no problems. They had hacks in the Survival game mode. It was crazy.
No, I loved that game mode, by the way, as you bring that
great.
back. That's a good memory.
Fun.
Yeah, very underrated for as far as, IW's version of zombies, overall with like that third game mode in the rotation. But either way, there was a lot of waves. And, well, that's, I guess, technically speaking, 9 rounds in a row, straight from the map 2 into the map 3. Just give no breathing room whatsoever over towards this Nemo roster. But the good news is if you're a Nemo fan, these guys did look really good in that first hardpoint overall. That was, of course, on the Garrison. But they need to bring a little bit of that magic now in towards the map number 4 here for us, Brody, because things have not lined up like we may have expected them to. You can see it. It was a 6-0 from UT Crew, which is just absolutely devastating and really killed the momentum after a very clutch win in towards the Garrison Hardpoint. That was just so surprising because UT Crew, well, they have not been very stellar for as far as those search and destroys. And then, of course, they carried that right in towards what was that Garrison Control too. So they could lock everything up here and put another win up on towards the board on the Moscow Hardpoint. And with the way that Methods is Phantoms playing in a couple of those moments, you might be in really good looks for as far as actually pulling it off.
And again, for everybody at home who's kind of unaware of the stakes of this is the final day of our round robin stage of play here in Challengers Elite Stage 4. So every match you see today, or I say every match, both matches you guys get to see today, this one and the one that will follow it, will be the last match that these guys get to play in the group stage of Challengers Elite Stage 4 in North America. And it's all on the line as well. There is a lot actually going on in terms of sort of the permutations available since everybody's playing their last match. I believe we actually just, okay, I was going to say we almost had an update there as to who won. The other match is going on concurrently with this one right now, which is going to be Built by Gamers and Trash Bros. Trash Bros, of course, not in a position dissimilar to these rosters we're playing at the moment. Of course, everybody is fighting for a place in the playoff bracket. I mean, I suppose the good news here, Austin, is that everybody, regardless of what happens today, is going through to the next stage of play. It's just whether or not that's going to be the knockout bracket or the playoff bracket.
Sure, and I feel like maybe that does add a little bit less intensity because usually when it comes down to these week 2s, even when we were looking at like the last matchup there in towards Europe, it was like this is, this win for Team War determines whether or not you're 3rd place or if you're 7th place and relegated because of how the tiebreakers had worked out. So there was a little bit more to kind of play with, where overall here Sobriety Gaming and of course Easter as well just completely relegated already before even coming in. So a little bit tough, but yeah, that's the security. It's like, listen, well, we've at least made it in towards the next stage. It's just a matter of, are you actually going to be able to, like you said, start off in towards that knockout bracket or not? So it should be good looks for as far as what we've seen. I mean, UT Crew, I'm actually very impressed with the way they've been able to bounce back here for us, Brody, because that was a rough day that they had yesterday, 0-2, and that was after being at the top of the leaderboards and tied for that 1st place spot. Have a chance to still be able to bring it home with all the tiebreakers that could end up playing out for us. But either way, in towards the map number 4, we'll see if Nemo can try and get things back on track and get us to a map 5.
If this map is anything like we saw in map number 1, Austin, I will be pleasantly surprised here with what's going on between these two teams. This has been just such a great series thus far. UT Crew, though, have really stepped up the heat in the last couple of maps. Can Nemo find a response? Well, out of the gate, the answer seems to be a no. UT Crew dominate the kill feed. Nemo, only 2 kills to talk of at the moment and no map control to go with it.
No map control to go with it. It's going to make things a little bit tougher for as far as moving on through, but still a chance to be able to win these battles and then make that happen. It will be Phantoms already on 4, showing us what he can do with a 74U. Not looking too bad overall, but Zyral will make sure he doesn't keep that spree going, as Nemo will find themselves on the point for the remaining 7 seconds, but are not in position for this rotation just yet. It is still technically a 50-50 battle for who controls spawns.
It's going to be UT Crew pulling through the lobby. They needed to get rid of Archives and Rambi round the back line. Keep an eye on Slack to do exactly that. Let's say that Archives comes through, wins that fight. Now there's just Phantoms over here to do something. Archives takes them out with the long-range shots from the AK-74U. So as far as Nemo are concerned, this is a pretty good break overall. Now in control of the hard point, looking for some control overall of this game. And there's still a wealth of time to pick up off the back of this hill. Maybe one good push left in UT Crew before they decide to give this one up.
Perform is not finding any kills. He's just scouting out everything towards the middle of the map, and he at least is able to get one. But this is going to be time that you just can't really hit if you're the side of UT Crew. Cannot risk a force-out spawn in towards the back of P2, so they will simply shift across the map. Phantoms locking down the middle, able to get that first one here. And because he found that first kill, is that he should be able to hold on towards that kill cam. But actually, Phantoms is going to spawn out towards the street side. So this has to be held from the front. And there are numbers here to break this. But Dylan Rex is able to get that first one. Slack pops up at the perfect time. And Methods comes off his spawn to shut down that push from the front. That could have been a little bit scary. But overall, UT Crew able to clutch up and recover.
Close game at the moment. Nemo definitely working off the back of that P2 hold. Now, though, they want to break this early fountain hold from UT Crew. They've got one player coming through the bank who might be able to get control of the spawns. For the moment, though, they're going to have to rely entirely on Perform coming through the hard point and causing some chaos. He'll only able to pick up one kill before falling. Archives, though, comes in, manipulates the spawns perfectly. UT Crew now spawning out over towards the lobby. No control over the spawns, no control over the hard point. But as I say it, it very quickly switches back in their favor. UT Crew, more specifically Methods and Rex, able to come on through and get control.
Rhodium getting flashbacks towards the map number 1, where it's just back and forth, extremely tight. Hopefully it keeps up like this, but no one actually gets in towards the new hill first. They're waiting for those kills to come in. And Archives, I like this positioning, just going to hold on towards the bar heady, but Methods comes through and shows us what he can do with a 74U as well. As he's on 3 in a row coming off that last hill. Nades exchanged back and forth on towards Rex and Perform, but it will be Nemo that find themselves inside of the point and now can start zoning in and around it.
Just stave off a couple of UT Crew waves here. That would be the way to hold on to this hard point. And I say it like it's easy, don't I, Austin? I always do. I'm like, yeah, this is the easiest way to hold a hard point. Here you go. This is a how-to instruction manual on how to hold a hard point versus UT Crew. But I don't think any manual is going to prepare you to the UT Crew wave of players that have just found their way on into the hard point. Now fighting the hill from the front as Nemo keep on spawning round towards Library. None of them can get control just yet. And as I say it, they're actually able to string together a couple of kills here that UT Crew are going to be battered away from the hill. So this is going to be scrap time that does go the way of Nemo. And at the end of the first set of rotations here, Austin, there is literally nothing to separate these two teams. You spoke about how close this game is already, and it isn't getting any further apart.
Yeah, I mean, out of 240 points across 4 hills, they're only able to come up with about 150 of them. So, I mean, this is already looking like a game clock could be in towards the conversation. 3 minutes on towards that. We'll, of course, keep our eye on it as we go throughout this. But at the moment, UT Crew, they're doing a good job controlling the street side. They have presence inside of the hill. They're finding kills and actually forcing the hand of Nemo to start taking some alternative routes in and around the side lanes, where Slack is trying to pick it up, but won't be able to find all the shots. Phantoms, however, right behind him will be able... Oh, no, he will not be able to. Rambi with some nice movement will find a couple of kills, and actually, Nemo have a chance maybe to press forward and start to get some players in towards the back here for P2.
It is going to be UT Crew in hold for the rotation for the moment, so Nemo will need to push on through here, possibly through platform methods. I don't know if he's aware that Zyral's actually come past. He had an inkling that he might have done. Of course, Zyral just outplaying him there in the 1 versus 1, but it isn't really much of a problem for UT Crew for the moment. Still holding on to the spawns for the new hill. Nemo going to try and push on through, send one player up towards lobby and 3 players over towards street. Archives does a little bit of damage, able to pick up 1 kill over towards the lobby side, but the push on street has effectively failed. It's come all the way down, boiled just to Rambi. He is going to fall, and UT Crew, at least for the first wave of kills here, Austin, able to hold on.
Well, hold on. Dylan Rex maybe thinking about an early rotation. I love this. It puts, sure, a lot of pressure on towards the members defending this P2 hill. but it could give you the fast track towards New as all the kills come on through. Archives does find a couple. The spawn's gonna flip on out in towards the back here as Nemo actually have members across the map and they have presence on the scrap time to give us just about a dead even game. And Phantom needs to sift out Ramby, but Ramby holds strong, finds that first one. Will even find a second with the backhand of the nade, but still fighting for spawns. It's a 2v2. Archives gonna have perform as they're inside of library, but still fighting for as far as who will have spawns, and now things looking a lot more in favor of Nemo.
I mean, you say that, right? But I mean, the way this hardpoint has gone so far, it really wouldn't surprise me if UT Crew were able to just come on through the front of the hill, sweep Nemo and get control of the hardpoint, as is the back and forth nature of this game. And well, we just look at that. I kind of have spoken it into existence. Methods and Phantoms able to pick up a couple of kills. Now it is just on Zyril and Archives to try and clutch up here. Now just the latter. Archives all on his lonesome as Methods and Slacked trying to find their way on in. Nemo actually spawning up over towards the lobby. The Garrison is here, but Slacked is just too potent. Will pick up a couple of kills inside library. And just like I said, UT Crew, they're in for the scrap time.
And things are starting to come back to me. We watched UT Crew, I want to say yesterday, maybe play on Moscow Hardpoint, and Dylan Rex was having a tough game. This time he's doing a lot better at just about 10 and 14 with that sub. 30 seconds in the hill, but Slacked is definitely the one you have to highlight. He's the second sub player with 4 in a row for him, 18 and 4 overall in a minute in the hill. So the sub's doing a good job collecting time, but somehow need to find a way to do it on towards P4 where no one is touching the hill, and we're still getting lower and lower on game clock at the moment here, Brody, where both of these teams across the hard points have really come down to it, whether that's just time not being collected or time being contested. But finally, we will see UT Crew win out on all those initial battles and actually get themselves in a position to come away with a good chunk of this time.
UT Crew looking for their biggest lead so far in this game. The biggest lead for anybody so far in this game, as a matter of fact, right? So this could be huge here, this last 20 seconds of time. And just as I say it, Nemo able to get their way in for the last 20 seconds. Archives and Perform confined for a few kills. Nemo in for that time. And now UT Crew will kind of want to be focused on the rotation. Actually, no. Nemo going to get there first this time around. UT Crew will now be spawning out over towards the Boulevard hardpoint. So they will be trying to come through Globe to get control of this hill once again. Gunfight for the spawns for next. Phantom's going to win that one, and UT Crew now a presence to try and contest this hardpoint.
Yeah, let's see how long the contest goes through. 50 seconds left on it at the moment. No one making that first move. Nemo just going to hold strong. Zyril gets the first kill, and that's going to clean up everyone contesting the zone for now. But Slack able to find himself one. Was trying to pressure inside of the hill, won't really be able to do so. As Zyril, he's clicking on heads at the moment. A couple in a row for him. 3 to be exact. 2 minutes in the hill on top of it, but won't read Methods over towards his right. Gonna have to be Ramby who cleans that on up. But still, a lot of time actually going over. They haven't really focused a whole lot of attention for as far as the spawns for P2. It's all about getting time on P1, but that might just have turned in and around on them, as we'll see. Everyone from UT Crew position a little bit further in towards the middle, but it's going to be Zyril again for 2 in a row. However, Brody, they somehow need to find a way to push through for P2 because once again, it's UT Crew here first.
This is just such a close game. Again, there is so little to separate these teams at this point in time. It is now going to be UT Crew once again on the rotation here. Now, last time around, Nemo, they failed to break it. They sent 3 players towards the street, and each one of them died in quick succession. That time, though, they had 1 player over towards lobby. This time around, the player that's a little bit separated was towards mid. The new strategy doesn't exactly work, and at least not to begin with. It's going to be Zyril coming in from behind. He only able to pick up 1 before falling here. UT Crew still in control for the moment, but look at Nemo. They have control of the spawns. They've got in from behind, Perform with 2, but neither team still in control of the time. Nemo now able to get some time here.
You gotta be careful if you're UT Crew. Remember, this rotation over towards the next hill is what's important because either team could actually win off of this P3 hill. And as we look at it and towards the mini-map, it will be Nemo having to rotate a tad bit late, but they get the scrap time, giving them just a slight lead by about 10 points. Are they going to be able to break in towards this new hill? That is going to be the question. And what long routes are you willing to take? Rex is going to throw a nade down in towards the middle. He gets great information. Archives is going to drop. Perform slips through, but that information is here. Methods also helping with the crossfires. Perform will meet him inside the bank. Finds that cleanup. But while this happens, Brody, all this time going over towards UT Crew.
And I was going to say, something has to give eventually, right? Because this game has just been so back and forth. These guys have been able to sort of counter each other at every single turn. Now maybe an opportunity here for UT Crew to hold on to a significant amount of time. Again, though, for how long? Because Rambi's got in the backline here. The spawns have now been manipulated. UT Crew will make that call, of course, with now Phantoms and Rex spawning out over towards the lobby. So Nemo, they're over here, but UT Crew aware of that fact. And Phantoms picks up 3, slacked with number 4. UT Crew, they can't finish it here, but this is the biggest lead they have had all game long, and what a time to get their noses out in front.
Oh, and look at the rotation. They're actually cutting them off inside the bank. They have to funnel through 2 entry points, and Slacked is going to be taking it down to 8 HP, trying to rely on methods inside the point, and there you have it. The final seconds come through. The rotations are strong enough to shut down Nemo, and another banger hardpoint comes on in, but UT Crew, they are the ones to close it out.
I mean, I gotta say, I'm a little bit disappointed there that it didn't go down a games clock. I can't lie. I kind of wanted a repeat of what we had in map number 1. It wasn't a fee, though. Incredible performance by UT Crew in the final moments there of that last hard point. Alan, you've been sitting here watching what's been an incredible series. Yes, it didn't go to game 5, but honestly, I'm happy with the way that one went.
Oh, I mean, both hard points were absolutely eclectic. Just the ability for both teams that are down to try to find that late map presence that they need. Couple of key rotations, couple of key decisions. That's great stuff coming through. And, you know, if we were just to be realistic, looking at all the final 6 teams that we have here that are not relegated, we love to see just good Call of Duty happening. I know for these guys in the lobby, they're trying to play for top 2. They want playoffs. But for us, it's just like, dude, these hard points have been so much fun to watch. And realistically, I mean, outside of the search and destroy, every single one of these maps are a really, really good watch for a number of different reasons. And I won't say the search and destroy wasn't a good watch just for one side, not the other. But, you know, it just comes down to the fact that, and this is where my worry, I would say, is, and I'm wondering if you guys echo this at all, you know, in that last map, it is just Zyril and Archives that are doing a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to holding initially and rotating initially, where the last 2, realistically, are just trying to get their weight onto those plays. But it really does feel like, at least from my perspective, that Zyril and Archives are really leading the charge here, Austin, as we get into what they're going to be looking forward to in what will likely be a knockout bracket play.
Yeah, I actually do agree with you. I think that it was a little bit tough, and it was just getting caught in a lot of the chaos. I think at times where, sure, like we all know the fundamentals, like you're supposed to rotate, but the fact is, like, you actually got to do it. And as much as you know it, you have to implement it, and that wasn't really happening. So when we're talking about when they were actually rotating, which was really only in the first set, because it never really felt like they were in position in the second set of rotations first, that was coming down to, easy breaks. I think we saw Phantoms like break them open from the front for that remaining scrap time that actually played a pretty important factor for as far as only needing a couple seconds on P4. So a lot of those moments, I think, do become a little skeptical when you're talking about, okay, who is watching what, where do we need to be, where are we stacking, you know, some of our bait and switches for as far as coming out with, you know, initial trades in towards these entry points for the hill. And that was, you know, clearly a problem in towards that Moscow there for them, because things started to slip away overall, and you can only contest things for so long too. So at the end of it, it's just UT Crew, I think, just a step ahead of them the whole way through.
Well, let's take a look over at our schedule as we're done with the first part of the evening, but still have a second very important match to get to. Even started off with everything going on in Europe. I thought for a second there with Nemo's little slight comeback that they were going to see another map 5 on the cards, but not to happen, not here. So a bit of a reprieve from seeing the 5 flash across our screen. But it's going to be LAG Academy going up against the System next. LAG Academy sitting at 3-3. The System hoping for a win to very much so, like Nemo, try to get to a position to argue for the top 2 spot. And with the recent results that have actually come through with Built by Gamers, I believe they've officially confirmed that they have gotten a 3-0. No, pardon me, they have not. Sobriety Gaming has won the control. So that one's still to be determined. That's happening right now off stream. But Trash Bros obliterated Easter. 250, 104, 6-1, 3-1. Yeah. Absolute domination. So Trash Bros are in a really good spot when it comes to potentially being at the top, but a lot has to yet be determined by what happens with Built by Gamers, and especially what comes up next when we come back from the break with LAG Academy and the System right after this. Welcome back, everybody. We have gotten through our first slot here in North America. Explosive respawns realistically coming through to give UT Crew small edge, taking down Nemo and essentially killing the chances of Nemo finishing in the top 2. But those hopes are still alive as we get into our second slot. It's LAG Academy going up against the hopefuls of the system. I say the hopefuls makes them sound like the underdog. Let's be honest, they're probably not. They're fully loaded, fully stacked, bunch of CDL pros. Former pros, I should say, if I'm being technically correct, with Zinx, and these are the 5 maps to take a look at, and really not a lot to memorize here because, honestly speaking, it's just 2 maps back and forth, Austin.
All right. Yeah, back and forth we go between the Raids and the Moscow. Right. So I hope you guys like Raid in Moscow, because that's what we're getting here to end off the night for us. But this should be, honestly, a really fun one, especially looking at these Search and Destroy maps and thinking of someone like Mental from LAG yesterday. Might be able to come in here and do some damage, but a little bit of an interesting, I guess, set of rotations that come on through. Good thing Raid is good on all 3 game modes, I guess.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it is. You're right. But getting a look at as far as what we should expect when the teams come down to it, just Brody looking at LAG Academy more in specific here versus the system. We talked largely about the powerhouse that the system is. You're dealing with 3 former pros, actually the most recent former pros, I guess technically we could say, plus Zinx, who has been a staple of what was higher before. He's been a really solid main AR over the last 2 years. And realistically speaking, this roster just works. I hate to make it sound so simple, but when you sometimes put together together a collection of players like this, sometimes it doesn't work out. This is not the case at all. These guys are looking great together.
No, I don't think you're wrong to channel your inner Todd Howard there and just say it does just work, because it does. It does just work with these guys, right? I mean, you got Decimate, Fellow, and Zed. I think, you know, for all the questions we've had this season, and it's such an interesting dynamic really, generally, because at the very start of the season, there were all these questions about pro players, right? Coming down from the CDL being sort of cold in sort of the mid-season between 2020 and 2021. And, you know, how are these pro players going to do? And it really does just say so much. The roster, such as the system, can come together kind of out of nowhere, realistically. It was a last-minute squad to effectively try and qualify for Challengers Elite Stage 4. They do it with ease, I would say, and then, of course, go on to now find themselves in a position where they sit in third in the overall standings at 4-2, just one win away from potentially, I will say, asterisk on this, potentially making their way into playoffs, because there obviously is still a few sort of things to do here before they guarantee that.
On the other front, though, just taking a look at this LIG Academy roster, Austin, we said this yesterday, we may have been the biggest critics of this team from really the get-go until last stage, and there were still questions floating around until they were able to make the playoff bracket. A lot of the reason why I think we've really enjoyed this team lately has been Mox. He has been playing extremely well, kind of coming into the mix, filling in for Chino. Who else is kind of catching your eye, maybe outside of just Chance himself?
Yeah, and I mean, coming in towards today, as I hit on yesterday as well, I think Mox is a great addition just because of the leadership that I think he brings. And again, he has a lot to prove coming in towards this season with how the first half has kind of went for him overall. So I think he's really the key player, and Mental has also been fantastic in these S&Ds. So I'll hand things over to you, gentlemen. Take it from here.
All right, well, getting on in again, the raid. This has been really a solid map, realistically, for both teams. A bit of rehearsal for both squads when it comes down to how they've played it. Not really to any dramatic success or unsuccess for either team. LIG Academy technically 0-2, but their losses were not terribly bad when it comes down to it. And one of the things we've noticed about watching LIG Academy play this map is they really do love to commit when it comes down to the objective overall. So no scrap time is safe is really what I'm getting at here.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think it's going to be a close hard point, generally speaking, especially with kind of how you stack these guys up on paper. It is just incredible talent across the board. I don't know if I would have been saying that about LAG Academy at the start of this season, but I most certainly am saying about it now. This roster has gone from strength to strength, and they've looked pretty good, and I'm very excited to see what the sub players on this roster can do on raid. But right out the gate here, Alan, we're seeing the system in the lead for the moment. Zed now looking for these rotational gunfights over towards Kitchen, going for one inside money, but that's a big win from Morks. LAG Academy not done yet. It's just Fellow now to deal with. This should be an easy kill, and it will be.
Yeah, Nero does get the trade, so LIG Academy do still hold on to the hard point, but you see the back problem is Zinx. He's found one kill, so of course LIG will know that he's in this back position, but Nero wasn't sure if he wanted to look forward or look backwards. Exceed will be able to take down Zinx, but the next contestant is Desi. He should be naded back into the arms of Mental, and that will mean that now LIG Academy can turn their focus forward. Exceed the first one in, Mental the second, and interestingly enough, the Semtex play he put out nearly cost him his life, but fortunately Nero playing from the front will clear just enough space to allow LIG Academy to soak up some more time here in the back 25 seconds.
LIG Academy still under pressure here from the system as Exceed picks up 3. Decimate, he's there. He's been offered up on a plate for maybe Exceed to get number 4. Not just yet, though. Is going to get taken down, and to be fair to Decimate, he's doing a good enough job at the moment of just zoning off this LIG Academy roster, stopping them from exiting the hard point. But look at the spawns right now for the system. Unfortunately for Decimate, off the back of his death, he's actually spawned out over towards Basketball. Fellow was spawned out also, and LIG Academy, with what is a brilliant rotation, able to get control of the barrage.
And if you remember LAG Academy on this map yesterday versus UT Crew, we kind of criticized them for maybe over-investing in certain areas when it really was the situation didn't call for it. And one of them was actually on this third hard point where they were taking a little bit long to get in. Even their initial setups were a bit wonky, but it looks like they have had some conversation about how to play this third hill. The break attempt already good, but now it just comes down to closing out the back 30, and unfortunately, it'll be Zed and Desi that were able to foil up the LAG Academy hit. And with that, in 25 seconds on the clock still, the LIG Academy are actually going to concede this. So you're going to have Mental playing for a bit of finesse time on Old, and in which he actually does force the system to turn back around as he gets one elimination, but he will not find anything beyond that.
I don't think that's a terrible play, to be honest, trying to just go in there and force the system to turn around for what is 10 seconds. The distraction works for the moment. as now we go towards the rotation. It's going to be LAG Academy over here, but the system have 3 players ready to try and make this push happen. Fellow gets mental off the respawn, and now maybe LAG Academy in a spot of bother here. As I say that, no, Nero and Exceed able to pick up a couple of kills. It is just going to be 1 player now inside the hardpoint, but Zinx has an opportunity to zone. He will only get 1. It will hold off LAG Academy from the respawn for the moment, trying to provide some time for the system to get in, but it's just not happening.
Yeah, the hero that is Nero right there. Didn't mean to rhyme, but whatever. We do it right in time. And now Nero is on 10 and 9, but the 4 kills straight that he found, 1 was on the re-entrance into basketball. The other 3 were as he was holding. So what looked to be a really solid hit for the system from the front, completely foiled by 1 player. And now if you got 20 seconds to play for, the system may have overcommitted a bit because there's only a little bit of scrap time to fight for. You've got the back spawns, which would have been favorable for the 4th hard point, but you're going to be late to this rotation to the 5th while you try to deal with Exceed on the old time.
LAG Academy now have themselves a solid lead off what was a great hold there. So the system will want to get back into this game and close that gap. It's not a massive one, but you and I, Alan, know how quickly these things can get out of hand, especially with teams at this level of play. So the system will want a good hold on the back of this. They have a good setup for the moment, but here's LAG Academy using some streaks. It will remove the system from the hard point. Now it's about the follow-up, and unfortunately for LAG Academy, they can't get it done.
I hate to play corrector, but the system just decided to sit there and say, no, we're not going to leave the hard point. They're just sitting here saying, well, we'll see. If we survive it, we survive it. And nobody falls from the artillery strike. I mean, I know Visions has said a lot about how this artillery strike is really not got a lot of kill potential compared to lightning strikes in the past. And you're seeing exactly why. I mean, the system just held their ground and said, bet, let's go. Let's see what happens. We've got flak jacket on. We'll see what happens here. And that actually allows them a chance to not alleviate any time really whatsoever to LAG Academy. They're going to flip the lead around.
Yeah, that streak is a massive L, I think, for LAG Academy in the grand scheme of things here. Of course, it's one that will not be so useful later on down the line now, as the system not only able to tie this game up, but will actually take a very short lead here going into the second set of rotations. LAG Academy, they're on here for the moment. Zinx and Decimate want to go with things over towards Laundry. Unfortunately, LAG Academy have already put out the Laundry inside the washing machine. It's ready to go. Give it a spin, and LAG Academy still in control of this hard point.
Yeah, this is where LAG Academy found a lot of success versus UT Crew. Was on this first hard point. They do a really nice job of keeping their focus kind of split very evenly between what's happening through the middle of the map and what's actually coming forward to us on the hard point itself. Even trades so far, all of it turning up in favor of LAG Academy, and so they have retaken the lead. They've gotten realistically the first 30 seconds without much contest. It's not the fact that they're earning this time. They've barely even been tested on it so far. And as the system continues to spawn out, they're going to put all 4 numbers through the kitchen, favoring the rotation. So they're essentially conceding 60 full seconds worth of time in order to try to play for kitchen.
I like this play from the system on the whole, right? I mean, they effectively know they can't get control of that last hard point. It worked really well. They just surge on through, and now they're in control of this rotational battle. Zed's trying to keep an eye on the back line. He knows a couple of players will be over here. Stun check comes in from Exceed. So now that LAG Academy know he's here, they should try to put him down. Zed, unfortunately, for LAG Academy, not going to get put down because Zinx is there for the support with the AR play. Zed wants a little bit more of the action. That is a ballsy play from him to try and take a player on the heady. He will unfortunately fall, and now it is just going to be Fellow and Zinx left inside the hardpoint, all on their lonesome, as LAG Academy spawn over towards water. But honestly, they're okay for the moment.
In the system, because they actually technically spawn out, the players that are on the return back to the hardpoint can try to clear the middle of the map. You saw Fellow get a couple of kills as one of the last survivors before the break attempt started to come through for LAG Academy, which eventually does find some legs to walk on. In fact, it was 4 kills straight, a lot of it coming from Nero, who is about to be finding himself in a 1v2, but only can take down the first. So Fellow gets the clearance, and I don't know, it's one of those things that you essentially go, what, a full 60 for LAG Academy, and then about, what, a 40 to 15 pull with a couple of seconds going neutral because of the contest. We'll see if it's worth it, because beyond that, LAG Academy have won this rotation over to Garage, and this is where things got dicey with them versus UT Crew yesterday. They need to be better on this hold.
How much better can they possibly be, though? System trying to find their way in. Decimate and Zed going to combine for 3, and yuck, you say it right there. LAG Academy decimated by Decimate inside the hard point. The system now going to start to rack up some time with their own, and realistically speaking, I mean, at this point in time, it's just one of those awkward positions where there's 35 seconds left on the hard point. You kind of need to push for it. It's quite a lot of time, but at the same time, basketball hardpoint is a long way away. LAG Academy going for this last 20 seconds of time, and since that time has now gone away, the system, of course, going to focus on the rotation here.
And Mental actually gets blessed on this rotation with a spawn out while his teammates are still breaking, so he's actually here first, finds 1 kill, gets good information onto a second, he actually sticks Desi, so now Exceed can pick up and try to play the 1v1 versus Fellow. Wants to wait for an SMG, Nero's not too far away, but Zink's very aware of what's possibly coming through the back. We'll make sure that any contest coming from this back staircase will be met with similar aggression. So it will be the basketball hardpoint opening up for the system first and foremost, and this is the time that you really wish you maybe had one of those streaks if you're LG Academy.
For sure, that streak, that artillery strike would be real nice at the moment, wouldn't it? But LG Academy gonna have to do it by brute force, gonna have to do it with their weapons. They can't, not for the moment anyway. Exceed is gonna have to play hero, try and push this through the pool side as the system now gonna take the lead once again here. We're hitting the back end of this game, and to be fair to Exceed, he's doing a stellar job.
Nice.
Exceed picks up 5 in a row. LAG Academy in for that last 20 seconds of time, and that is still a valuable amount at this point in the game here, Shift.
Exceed is really wanting streaks right now, but you cannot slow down your gameplay to try to get kill 6 and kill 7.
Yep.
You have to make sure you're able to contest this 5th hardpoint just the vanilla way. No extra flavors whatsoever. You just have to make sure that you're getting good rotation coming through, and they're going to do just that. It's Fellow who's trying to beat them over by the statue. Gets 1. Mox tagged up heavily, but will still win the gunfight. But even still, with all of that said, these interactions are not influencing the hill yet. The system retaking the lead at 222.
The system, they're in for the hard point. I mean, LAG Academy, they're all on that left side of the map at the moment. Zed's going to win his fight. Zinx wins 2 over towards ringside as well. And Spaghetti-O, LAG Academy going to have to come off the spawn over towards jungle. This immediately becomes a one-dimensional attack here. They all have to funnel in to Decimate, who is there ready for it. He picks up 1, trades in favor of LAG Academy, but Zed is here to pick up the slack. Zinked on a 5 spree, and LAG Academy, again, just have to filter on through Kitchen. It is a tunnel vision of a play, but it's all they have left to go as the system able to win it with that final wave of kills there. Alan Zinks effectively shuts the door on that first game.
Look, I'm not going to nitpick too heavily on this, but the reason that LAG Academy, in my mind, do not find a way to successfully get over to P5 is simply because Exceed says, I'm on 5, I'm trying to play for streaks. Once you clear the hard point at basketball, there's no need with that much amount of time that was left. It was about, what, 23 seconds, 22 seconds? You don't need all 4 players to still stay there at basketball. You need to start putting someone on the long rotation through laundry to get statue control, because otherwise, like you were calling out, you have to funnel through Kitchen or through the open staircase. Neither are incredible options when you're going into a full setup for the system. So that maybe moment of indecision where it's, I'm playing for streaks, I just hope someone's going to challenge me, could have been the decider. But before that, I still have to really consider just what the system are trying to do overall and how much more they valued the general rotation than LAG Academy did. I mean, they were okay at one point in time to essentially give up full time on the first hard point in order to play for Kitchen. I was a bit questioning if that play was going to be worth it. Apparently it panned out just barely long enough for them. But the breaks coming through P3, that's what I was about to come up to next as we watch it on screen. It's just too easy for the system. We criticized LAG Academy for being maybe a bit too risky with how far forward they were playing, and it seems to have come back and bite them again here.
I will say, you know, overall for LAG Academy, they didn't lose by that much there in that game, right? Yes, I think there was kind of the fatal flaw that you were talking about, right, where Exceed, you mentioned it as we were actually in the basketball hardpoint, like, Exceed, do not play for these streaks right now, just try and play for this next rotation.
Have to play for the rotation,
and, I mean, they kind of make that mistake, but still, overall there was some serious promise from LAG Academy in map number 1. A lot of the rotations they did actually get right. We saw a few crucial moments where they decided, hey, look, you know we're not going to get this last 20 seconds of time. It's effectively scraps, so let's go for this rotation and really focus on hitting as a team. They did a really good job of that, and you know, overall there wasn't all that much necessarily wrong with LAG Academy there in map number 1. It did just come down to a few very minor decision-making errors. Really, I mean, it's not like the system were perfect either, to be fair. So map number 1, it's a pretty messy affair, Alan, but it is only map number 1 in a best of 5 here, of course. You know, our raid Moscow bonanza continues as now we flip over to Russia from Moscow, search and destroy. And well, Alan, search and destroy between these two teams, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's actually really good. 6-2 and 6-3 for both of the squads. But the better news for LAG Academy fans is the fact that you're going to your map pick. 4-0 on Moscow so far, coming off of a absolute dominating performance versus Built by Gamers, which unfortunately they would still lose the series, but it was a 6-0 last that they were here. So the system, I don't know if they were aware of that, or maybe they're just hard videoing out Miami as they have not played it at all through the group stage. But regardless, Moscow gets through. LAG, you can almost feel them kind of twirling their mustaches or rubbing their fingers together. I prefer it in that order, by the way. But they get the chance to go to this Moscow search where now you're in a position where you have to be feeling like, okay, we'll come out of this at a 1-1 map count tie. That should be the expectation. Let's just make sure we play our game here and send it neutral to a map 3 raid control.
Yeah, for sure. LAG Academy, I mean, look, like we said, there wasn't much to separate these two teams in map number 1. Obviously, you know, in the stat lines in terms of search and destroy generally, there isn't that much to separate these teams at the moment. So this, I mean, I'm not going to cast as curse this final match. I mean, I might be cast as curse in this final match by saying it. This does bear the hallmarks of a 5-game thriller between these two teams. Hopefully, it does go that way because it will just be a thrilling end to the overall standings. I believe that BBG have actually won their match versus Sobriety Gaming as well right now, which would put them 5-2 in the standings. So I believe the system now will be looking to try and force a three-way tie between themselves, BBG and Trash Bros for a spot in playoffs.
Yeah, that's going to be a really interesting one. I mean, just kind of speaking onto all three of those teams just briefly. I mean, for the system, I think that's probably the expectation when you read off the names on paper that they should be fighting for the top.
Of course, yeah.
Trash Bros, I don't think any of us would have said that we're going to be fighting for the top, so that's a pleasant surprise from Mock & Co. And then from the other side, Built by Gamers, obviously we talked large about how this roster sticks together, and they're trying to work through the resiliency of some of the bad problems that they had throughout, you know, the early stage 1, stage 2, even a couple moments in stage 3. So they're looking like they're in a really great position to improve on previous performances that they had from before. So really exciting stuff, man. I'm telling you, with 2 teams already relegated, it just comes down to what happens at the very top. And just as a reminder, in case you're new to Challengers, you finish top 2 in the group. Not only are you instantly placed into the last final 4-team playoff, but you also secure your spot for sure going into stage 5 elite, which I would say arguably very well could be the most important stage as we get ready to go with whatever happens at the end of the season for a postseason.
Yeah, and just have a wider conversation here as well about sort of the current state of North American challenges, right? Because, you know, going into this stage, Easter were the heavy favorites to come out and win again. You know, they were the number 1 team in North America by far and away. Anybody who said otherwise was, they have had a few too Coca-Colas to you know, be talking about that in any other way. I mean, in terms of Easter, you know, they are the top team in North America coming into this. They go out. I don't even know if they ended up winning a match overall. They did win one in the end Easter, so they did do something in reference to your tweets. But overall here, I mean, now we've got teams that kind of could come out and take the first spot. BBG, I'm looking at them, of course, who have been sort of waiting in the wings for a very long period of time to take one of those top spots. LAG Academy, another one of those teams. The system, of course, another roster which now has come together, maybe looking to have one hell of a debut by taking first overall. Anybody could take it. That is the very nature of the competitive North American challenges that we have here on offer.
And I love this from LAG Academy. This is a very default setup for them where they'll put Mental over towards A just to be the lurking role. Well, realistically, it just comes down to which direction they actually want to go off this 1-2-1 split. This time it's B. So Mental will lurk by A, just kind of jump the wall and see if you can read the information. And then you send Mox to the outer street to get a 1v1, maybe even a 1v2 potentially if Exceed wants to join them for some sort of a lineup over towards Long. And Desi holds down the trigger for nearly long enough to find Nero. Zed would love the trade, but proverbially draws his own line in the sand to make sure he stays responsible for the B side overall.
Well, LG Academy here, I believe they're going to go for push round to A. Look at this prediction coming in from Zed, though. This is why this man was on the London Royal Ravens. Game knowledge down to a T. He knows this rotation will have come in. Zed slides out. No knowledge is there. Unfortunately, the execution is not. Or I guess the execution was there. It's the execution onto Zed. And now it's going to be Zinx in a 1 versus 2. Has the positioning on the half wall. Now just trying to spot out these last 2 players.
Yeah, I don't really love that from Zed. You have to be feeling like someone's going to be watching over the top, but Zinx may have changed up the angle long enough. He's going to try to stick this.
No.
Oh, boy. No one's checked. They've already checked it. They've already checked it. They can't see him. Zinx, you sneaky devil. Oh, my goodness. It's just the route that he takes. I mean, he gets at least some sort of a read how LG Academy are moving after the kill cam comes through into his teammate Zed as they push into lobby. And as soon as he gets that read, he pushes out of pillars into bricks. And that's the most perfect position he could be when it comes to trying to give himself an angle at what is surely going to be 2 duos running together with LG Academy. Or more importantly, getting around the back of the bomb, which was not planted for lobby, and sneak off a defuse. Brilliant play from Zinx.
It's like Zinx was playing a stealth game there. And just had to take the right path before he got sent back to the checkpoint. He did it perfectly on the first run. Brilliantly played by Zinx to get that ninja defuse as the system going to start this one relatively strong. LAG Academy not going to be happy with that one. As now we have the system on the offense. They're going to take this bomb over towards B. Initially here, they will have the space to get this bomb down.
Oh, and they've got the post plant set up over towards street because you've got Mox, who is responsible for the middle initially. He doesn't have a really great angle to see how exactly this hit has come. So watch how Mox and Exceed want to do this. They're going to continue to throw shoulders and see if they can get some team shots off. Even using the flashes to try to come over. And yeah, now they've seen Zinx, but they've cleared off a little bit of space. So this retake is already looking like it's throwing some legs to come on forward.
Decimates in the heart. We're in the site. Trade's coming down. Now a 2 versus 2. It's going to be Fellow and Zed who are able to regain control of the site. Exceed doesn't check the bottom there of the staircase, and now it's just Morks in a 1 versus 2. Not a lot of time to work with here. You imagine that even if he gets the first kill, just going to play time is Zed here. Of course, he has the time to check this. I mean, Morks gets this kill. It's a nice couple, but it's not around at the end of the day.
No, it's really, really tight, and I thought for a second Desi was going to piece up inside the point itself to make things really interesting, but in the end, it really is just down to the simple fact that Exceed, his reticle is covering where Zed is hugging onto that railing. And realistically, though, as much as I do love the speed coming out of the system, you do have to give some credit to how the retake breakdown was coming through from LAG Academy. Again, that duality, we kind of criticized a couple of teams in Europe in that Amelia Strays game earlier on today, maybe kind of missing the mark when it comes to defensively breaking up that B post plant. Not the case for LAG. Both ARs are watching the outer lane. That means your SMGs can come and meet them if they want to, or play inside the point. Just depends on what they like the look of, and the kills are pretty much even up until that last elimination from Zed onto Exceed. So really good stuff through and through for both squads. Love what I'm seeing so far, but it is the system up 2-0.
System going to cut the map here. Going to send 2 players over towards A, 1 player in mid, and 1 player over towards B. That mid player, that was going to be Fellow. Fortunately, he gets decimated off the map as Exceed wins that fight, and now LAG Academy going to encroach themselves onto A. Zinx, can he play hero? Absolutely not. The capes gets ripped off his back. And now it is just Zed and Decimate in a 2 versus 3. Decimate's going to get gifted a kill over towards the backside of lobby, but now they know where he is.
Yeah, he can find Nero off the exit here, but the problem is he's got 2 players right behind him. So, not much you could do there. But talk about just the gall of Exceed. His first 3 interactions are all in really aggressive stances. The first is coming right through checkers to challenge the player top cutout window. The second is to move up through Eskies and find an angle onto Zed, who's actually, for the time being, he was on the bomb for a moment. He just barely gets away from his life, but it's still a bold engagement with an AR. And then the third, he slides out of Eskies and finds one more outside. So it's a lot of action from Exceed early, a lot of damage confirmed. Then beyond that, the first blood in the middle of the map was a great one for LAG Academy to set up that hit towards A.
LAG Academy, they have finally got a round on the board here in round number 3. Now we'll see whether they can back it up with yet another round here as the system going to barrel towards A. We have a blind rush here on the A site. Everybody in the game on one site. Who blinks first? LAG Academy. It's going to be mental. Able to come around, pick up that first blood. Zinx in for a trade, though. Zinx in for number 2. But trades right back. Nero and Exceed combined for 3. They get a little bit tetchy there. They couldn't wait any longer.
Yeah, it looked like traffic on the 101 here. You've got 3 players just stuck right outside Eskies, and you have to give credit, I think, to LAG initially for finding the first blood, but then beyond that, knowing that, okay, there are more players that are in front of us, but they haven't gotten into Eskies yet, so we can actually just double peek this, and Exceed finds 1, Nero finds 2. Really good stuff coming through, and the angles were just perfect. The system realistically just got a little bit stuck up trying to figure out what they wanted to do after they lost their first player.
Well, LAG Academy going to win that particular engagement. Of course, that does just sometimes happen where teams just decide to go straight towards a bomb site, and it ends up just being who can win the particular engagements, who's better. And the moment now, though, we have an answer for who's better in this particular engagement, as Zed and Zinx able to win their first bloods over towards Eskies. Now that bomb down in a particularly awkward place where Exceed and Morks, they are not getting that.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that's a change of pace round from LAG Academy, and unfortunately, it just, I mean, I wouldn't say it just doesn't work out. It doesn't work out at all. It's just a little unfortunate that these first couple of kills were not really all that well traded. I mean, you could see exactly what's coming through. Mox is aggressive on one side, Exceed aggressive to the middle. The other 2 players in Nero and Mental Exceed somewhere else, aggressive somewhere else, and it's just a little unfortunate. They're trying to find an opening, kind of poke some holes in the Swiss cheese here, but none were to happen as the system says we prefer Gouda.
I do love some Gouda, to be fair.
I love Gouda cheese, dude. It's so good.
Don't make me think about. Dude, do you know what time it is here over in the UK right now? It's 3 a.m. Don't be talking to me about cheese. Okay, I'll be going downstairs. I'll be working my dog up just for some cheese, dude. We're not be doing that at 3 a.m. He's got me thinking about Gouda, LG Academy. See if they can cheese around off the system here, as it's going to be immediately, once again, Buttonhead's on this A site, and it comes down to Exceed, a 1 versus 2 inside lobby. Has the information as to where Fellow and Zinx are. Fellow has not a Scooby-Doo where Exceed is. And now a 1v1.
Oh, this is so tight. Zinx has got pillars completely clear. Exceed is not going to know that he's in this position. You see him continuing to check, but it's all going to be down to timing. And here comes Zinx. Oh, he actually wins the gunfight. Exceed was ready for him, but the little slide through over to the planter from Zinx is apparently more superior, as he will find the kill and win the round for the system.
Crazy how it all boils down once again to just teams blindly hitting A and seeing what gets thrown up in the egg. Boils down to a 1 versus 1, and the system going to come out on top of that one. And you know, it is crazy, isn't it, to think about the fact that LAG Academy now for a handful of rounds could well have been in the lead in this game if they'd have just won some crucial one-on-one engagements. But again, that is just sometimes how the cookie crumbles. And now I'm kind of interested to see here, what did LEG Academy do? Because 4-2 down, you do not want to be losing this round.
This is another play off their default setup, where you're once more going to continue to use Exceed and Mox to play the street. Nero's going to follow behind, and Mental's just here to make sure there's not a flank. But beyond that, if the kills come up favorably, he could flank himself. The problem is Fellow wins first blood, sees 2 more players, and Desi's already here to help. So this is really a difficult situation for LAG Academy to break. Loose Fellow is taking a lot of damage from Semtex as he's jumping around trying to keep his toes safe. But in the end, Exceed will eventually get the trade. It's a 3v3, but the defense for the system is already here, ready to deal with this.
And First Bloods go the way of the system. Exceed now to 1 versus 4. Okay, shot punch, but Zed should surely finish him off sooner rather than later, unless Exceed manages to pull off a sneaky... Well, he's no Christian Bale, can't get away in that situation. Now the system on map point here, Alan. Looking pretty good.
Is that a Prestige reference?
It was a Prestige reference. It was. I knew you'd appreciate that.
Really undervalued film, honestly.
Yeah?
Yeah,
See,
I think that movie's so good.
I tailor my movie references to you now. I have to make sure to not reference anything that came out before 2010. And we're good.
Oh, well, that's just for your own sake, because I'll be more than happy to give you down some 90s movie references for sure. Were you even born in the 90s?
Dude! I was actually. I have one toe in the 90s. I was born in 1999, and well, what a way to start this round. LAG Academy having a great go of things. It boils down to a 1 versus 2. Zinx now gonna have to whip out some of his 90s greatest hits to pull off this one off.
TLC, Backstreet Boys.
Yeah?
Smash Mouth. Whatever you prefer, really. But the bomb is down, and it feels like LAG Academy know it's down. I think they've really done a nice job of reading to know, okay, well, Zinx isn't going to be carrying the bomb. Who did we kill where? Okay, cool. We got Zed and Desi right down here in middle, so the bomb has to be down here somewhere. So a difficult break situation, but just as soon as LAG were looking confident with covering the bomb, they start to move away. And Zinx has collected this, and I don't know if the 2 players in cutout actually saw him. Zinx could sneak a plant here. It looks like he's going to get tested on the exit, not even going to be allowed to. Mental right there to pick things up, and a 3rd round gets tallied here for LAG Academy, but the problem is it's going to have to be 1 of 4 in a row, which is not very likely based on how the system have played so far, but I'll say this much, for the handful of rounds that we've seen from LAG Academy that have been favorable, they've looked great, but the ones that they've dropped have been a bit uncharacteristic. I mean, a couple of things have marginally gone wrong, but outside of Exceed really snapping in some of these really awful situations, there's been a lot of moments where LAG Academy has actually had to recover to get these round wins.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like I said, a lot of these situations at the moment just coming down to 50-50s that are not going LAG Academy's way, and as you say, then having to recover, and sometimes it just hasn't been as successful as they would have liked. That one, of course, well, it wasn't. LAG Academy now 5-3 down here in the Search and Destroy. Needs to pull off 3 rounds on the bounce, and once again, barreling towards A are these teams. Mental's going to draw that first blood. Zinx over on the half wall. This is a power position and a half for this place. And now it is just Morks. 1 versus 2. Can he snap on Fellow? No, he cannot. The extra bullets from the Diamati. Fellow feeling himself at the moment as the system able to win out.
Fellow did that last night of the map 5 versus Nemo too. He's just like, when you win a search and destroy, Tyler's gonna shoot at you. It's just what's gonna happen. But you know, here's the thing. You know, for the system, I think initially when we were watching this team kind of getting through their early stages, they were really, really clutch when it comes down to their search and destroy. I mean, their 3 losses that they had, one was around 11, another was around 10, and they were both versus Built by Gamers and Trash Bros, 2 good teams as well when it comes to search. Honestly speaking, actually, North America has been really good at search and destroy this stage. I mean, just about everybody's got about an even record or beyond that. So it's been a really fun stage for search, but for the system, the fact that you're able to come on to LIG Academy's map pick, one that they've been flawless on so far, maybe even irrefutably dominant on so far throughout the stage, and then take it to them, that's great news. Because like I was mentioning, they're near the end of the map. For LIG Academy, even in the rounds that they were winning, they kind of still had to recover to win those rounds. So it really did feel like the system had their number coming through, even from the get-go, all the way throughout all 9 rounds that we saw.
And, you know, as I kind of said throughout that search and destroy, a lot of it was kind of unfortunate in a sense for LAG Academy, where it just came down to some of these situations they found themselves in. They just lost the 50-50s. There were actually, I think, 3 or 4 rounds there where it went down to the teams just butting heads at A, and it just didn't work out in their favor. I mean, I know that's pretty standard for what we see, actually, as you guys can see again in the replay here. I know that's pretty standard for what we see overall on Moscow search and destroy. If you actually remember, like, the very beginning of the game, right? That was standard for every single round. So we've moved away somewhat from that, but apparently LAG Academy and the system want to throw it back to the 90s of Black Ops Cold War, which is the start of the game earlier on, effectively, where it's just 8 hits. But the system able to take a 2-0 advantage here, just 1 map away from forcing that 3-way tie with BBG and Trash Bros. We can bring up our map set in just a second. That would be awesome to see exactly what we have next up in the series. Either way, it's going to be Control. I mean, for both of these squads, they aren't terrible in Control, but they're not great either. 3-3, both even, but Raid is where it gets interesting, right?
Yeah, both teams 2-1 when it comes to their Raid Control so far. In their losses, well, at least for LIG Academy, it was a narrow one versus Built by Gamers. The system did get beat up by BBG, so take that from what you will when it comes down to maybe evaluating both squads. It's just regardless of how you want to kind of tally those overall records, both teams have been very consistent, I would say, throughout the year. Maybe save the exception that there have been some really interesting situations for both teams when it comes down to maybe a couple of hardpoint wins that they should have had but then lost. Outside of that, everything else has been pretty much level playing field. I mean, realistically, throughout the entirety of what we've seen so far in the group stage, save for Trash Bros being lights out in Control and Nemo being great at Hardpoint, everybody else is pretty much on level playing field. I mean, there really isn't anyone who's too bad at anything or anyone who's too good at anything. So, I don't know. It makes for a really, really fun group stage to be sure. And of course, just to get the implications back onto the table once more, for the system, you win this next map, you're up there in that 3-way tie situation with both Trash Bros and Built by Gamers.
Yeah, obviously we're not entirely sure how that one works out, of course, because there's a lot of tiebreakers that you kind of have to go through before you decide who actually gets those last 2 playoff spots. Of course, I mean, we're talking about this as if the system have already got into that 3-way tie, right? I mean, for all we know, despite the fact that LAG Academy can no longer get into that position themselves, you know, we've already seen today where teams over in Europe and again here in North America, they can cause upsets despite the fact that they can no longer get into the position themselves, just because they can, just because they want to win, just because they want a nice seeding inside that knockout bracket, especially with how competitive the North American region is. Again, you know, this season, I think overall here, Alan, it's just been stellar. I know it was last year, but this year particularly, I think, you know, there would have been statements kind of flying around as to how many teams are really competitive in North America, and just looking at the Challengers Cups, the Open events, and of course Elite, there is like 24, 32 teams that all could find a spot in Elite if they tried their butts off.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the playing field has just been getting tighter and tighter as the year goes on. And I mean, you mentioned for a moment, like getting a favored seed in the knockout bracket. I don't know if there is a favored or unfavored seed, because I mean, all of our teams that are going to be in the knockout bracket are essentially at ties. So it's really just another bracket that you have to play through. But as we get out of this Control the system, really nice start for them over towards A. They don't really quite fully capture the first tick here, as LIG Academy do work the middle of the map to retake. So the system have to kind of reset themselves out of the spawn and essentially try again.
Well, the system going to be comfortable to grab on to that A zone for the moment. Exceed from open steps. Okay, Exceed. He's able to pick up a couple of kills. Nero follows up with another one over towards ringside. Decimate has to play hero for the moment, and if anything, is just wasting time for his teammates to come for the support. Unfortunately, he couldn't waste enough time, so the system here going to have to find a way into the point when LAG Academy have control. Oops. Going to get taken down here. Zink's trying to get the players inside the mid-map. It is now just mental to put a stop to this one, and he cannot do it. Zed takes him down, so the system now should have this point.
Not bad, though, from LAG Academy. I mean, you exit getting rid of about 45 seconds of the time. Lives, for all intents and purposes, are relatively even, but the problem is you are not in a position to actually play for any exit kills. That's kind of the big kind of fringe play here. It's the fact that the system is already in your kitchen, so you've got to clear this out. You cannot allow them to block your spawns and put you up by laundry. But as Desi and Zinks find 2 kills, that means the system can actually get quickly onto the B zone. Desi working on 4 in a row, would love a fit, grabs it, but Mental's there for the trade. First tick of progress, though, should be pretty good here, Brody.
The system, if they can just stack this point right, I know that's generally speaking inadvisable, they stack this point to try and get some tick progression in, it will really force the LAG Academy to start to rush into the point, be a little bit more concerned. That's not the plan they're going to go for. Instead, they want to kind of zone out here, but actually, it is the plan they're going with that is working. Decimate picks up 2. Now they can stack the point. This should be done. They recognize it. Nero could maybe put a stop to this. Has to just jump out of the window, though, and again, that is just a horrible position to be in. The system, I would say, played that perfectly at the end there.
Oh, absolutely. It goes to show that in Control how quickly things can crumble, because LAG Academy, you saw Mental right here. He was trying to play forward to contest the zone. Look where the rest of those 4 LAG members are. No one is actually going to be in a position to fight off this play from Kitchen. And to be fair, Desi wins a really special 2-piece to make sure that happens. But how quickly Zed's able to go from A to B goes to show when you're able to string together that kitchen middle area, LAG Academy, they're stuck. They're stuck spawning laundry. You have to fight back out of laundry, back into kitchen, back through open stairs, back into basketball. You just have to do so much, and you just don't have time when you're already getting a double stack coming through, at least for the system. Really good stuff offensively to know that they had the lane available to play into kitchen as quickly as they did after capturing A.
Well, system of strike first here in this game of Control. Now it's going to be LAG Academy right back at them on the offense. They want to get some progression over on B. 1 tick is going to be enough for the moment, but the system going to very quickly deal with them. And I like this positioning from the system overall here, actually. They've sent Zed over towards Art to try and zone away.
Yeah, Zed this is a really heads-up position. He's not a part of the B defense whatsoever. So as he starts to continue to wander forward, he just puts himself in art. So that means that LAG Academy cannot spawn over towards the driveway to A. They have to spawn garage, and it gives a chance for his teammates to start to reposition. Desi nearly able to finesse another 1v multiple situation. But regardless, you're winning in the life count. You're looking good to get numbers back over to contest this A zone. Just comes down to, can you find the kills?
Can you find the kills? That's the question. Decimate and Zink's able to pick up a couple of kills. This will now just be all on the shoulders of Mental to do something on A. He's not able to do it. Good news, though, for LAG Academy. They're about to stack this B zone and get this final tick in. I don't know if Zed's going to be able to put a stop to this one. Exceed and Morks are on the point. I think Zed recognizes pretty quickly there's no point just throwing bodies at what is already a foregone conclusion. LAG Academy have now captured B, and Alan, that is the harder point to take. So the system, with 90 seconds on the clock here, not necessarily in a spot of trouble, but not a favorable position either.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that they're not going to be allowed to play this zone around A because of how many numbers for LAG Academy are playing through laundry. You have to deal with some of these members, and Fella will find the first. He also reads that there are still some more coming on the way. Just comes down to, can these defensive reinforcements that are spawning basketball for the system get here in time to actually contest? They found a route through Art. Second tick of progress on the way, but can they confirm it? It's going to be close. It's contested at the moment. Nero trying to stay alive, but no matter how hard he wiggles, there's not going to be much of an opportunity to get the contest off unless he goes 1v3. Not going to happen here, and the system have regained control of A.
I thought for a second there that the system were actually going to get that one away to LAG Academy. Zed actually somehow manages to kind of dip and dive through arches and get himself into the control zone. One progression is all that was made, but now LAG Academy are going to have to go for a more traditional approach here. Exceed in the mid-map, trying to zone away, and he does it spectacularly well. Now just 3 players on the point. It will be 4. This should be done. I don't think anybody from the system is realistically going to touch this point in time. LAG Academy will be able to close that out. And again, it's just such a horrible position to be in. When you're on the defense, you lose control of B because A is just so easy to take in the overall.
It's just one of those things that, you know, so far, I'll just categorize all three maps, at least up until this point that we've seen so far in our third map, that LNG Academy has found the most success with their ARs. And maybe that's part of the reason why we're seeing players like Exceed and Mox starting to get a little bit more aggressive than you would normally anticipate for someone holding a Krig. But at a certain level, you need to start finding some confidence for both Nero and Mental. Collectively, they're 13 and 23 with only 10 plays around the objective. I mean, 16 objective plays for Exceed and Mox so far through 2 rounds is really, really good for an AR. So something needs to change, I would say, as far as how Mental and Nero are trying to play either collectively together or alongside their teammates. And how about it? Nero's actually going to pull out a Krig off the rip here. So that already is a change.
Well, changing the situation at the moment. LAG Academy now looking for control over A. It would be good if they could stop the system right out the gate on this A zone. They will do, but in doing so, they're giving up so much control of the B zone. Exceed is going to have to effectively single-handedly put a stop to this one. He won't be able to as Fellow picks him up. And now the system have a couple of players here to make tip progression on the point. Decimate wins a fight over towards Zig. That's a player that could potentially have caused issues inside the spawn. And Decimate not stopping anytime soon.
Yeah, Desi's been so good this stage, man. He's just unbelievable. It's such a raw talent. I mean, 19 and 11, he's the entry. Zed right behind him, gets 2, wants the 3rd. Oh my goodness, Zed. That's going to be good to confirm the B zone. And now LG Academy, very fortunate to be spawning Laundry, but they still have to scrap together a defensive setup as the system are already threatening around the back.
Decimate hit. Going to go for the player over towards Laundry. LAG Academy, though, they are holding strong, despite the fact that the system are now coming out from a variety of different angles. Still a problem over towards Laundry. He continues to be a problem over towards Laundry. The system might now have an angle in to this point. LAG Academy need to deal with Zed over here. They need to deal with Decimate. And while all this is going on, Fellow has found his way like a sneaky beaver into the point. How much damage can he do to the LAG Academy defense? Well, unfortunately, not all that much.
Yeah, I mean, this has just been really good, I would say, from both sides. You're seeing really good offensive looks from the system, but defensively, LAG Academy have done a really nice job of recovering. Mental, good for 1, not the second. Zed there for the trade, and on 6 in a row. Has already earned 1 streak. Would love to get the final. His teammates finding an opportunity to get on, and there it is. The cruise missile has been earned. Now you can double stack, and Mox has to give up his position up top to cut it forward, contest, and he's going to have maybe an opportunity to work with Exceed to clear the zone.
And Fellow wins that fight as well. So Fellow could potentially waste some time here. Zinx maybe picks up the slack in this position, and the system are right back in the point, but they still cannot get a stranglehold on the overall point. Good news for the system here. They have a 10 versus 6 life advantage. So they have realistically one more go at this than maybe LAG Academy would like. Decimate, though, he is decimating the opposition. Picks up 2 kills there. LAG Academy down to the last 2 lives as Decimate picks up Mental. It's just on Morks and Nero here. Can they even stop this point? I mean, realistically speaking, yeah, you're down to your last 2 lives. You may as well go for it because kills do not matter for a prospective round number 5. The system, though, they get it done anyway.
And they hold on to their streaks. You know, that's just the big key. Once they're earned, it's like an 11 playing up against 8. And as the kills continue to come through for the system, you're looking at a situation where they don't need to worry about using the extra resource. You can hold on to it and then punch the 3-0 ticket home coming up in this next defense. At least that's the intent, right? So we'll have to see. LAG Academy, there's a lot that are going to be required of them here. You have to put down some significant pressure to force the consideration for the system to use these streaks, and then be kind of almost spidey sensing when they're going to get called in so you can get to safety, because both of these zones are pretty out in the open. I mean, B obviously a little bit more covered by Tiki and back basketball, but you can still bend a cruise missile in there and still take some ordnance from an artillery strike. So there's going to have to be something aggressive coming through for LAG Academy off of whatever these first kills will look like. Problem is, they're not going to be allowed to. Zed calling through a very early cruise missile will find Exceed inside Tiki, and that is an opening engagement that favors the system pretty heavily.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad cruise missile by any means, right? You're effectively stopping LAG Academy from getting control of B early on. And then, of course, Zed naturally follows up with a nice 2-piece over towards ringside. Somehow survives that engagement long enough to get number 3. Okay, Morks is going to follow up with 2 of his own. So LAG Academy, the boat has been rocked here, but not enough for them to capsize. as LAG Academy back onto the point over towards A. Some stability has been earned here, but just like this is a perfect time for Zed to maybe use his streak. It's just going to be a ping for the moment to try and scare them away from the point, but realistically speaking here, Alan, damage has already been done. The system have wiped them away from the point. Just one more player, 1v1 here between Zinx and Mental to close it out, and actually Mental's going to win that.
Yeah, and this is a lot of trust from LG Academy. They came off spawn, all 3 members looking to go over towards B. So Mental will single-handedly capture the second tick of progress. One more 1v1. It's versus Zed, and he sees him. Goes to the AR and wins the gunfight. That should be the third tick of progress. Looks like it will be as LG Academy's approach towards B. Largely rotated back to the middle of the map to help out at A just in case. So everything will come to a bit of a reset. Small life lead here for the system, and a minute 28 on the opposite side for LG Academy to put up an attack towards B.
And if this push works, LAG Academy will be in the good. They're going from behind. They're trying to get control of jungle. It's going to be Zed and Zinx over here to deal with it. Now just 2, and it's going to be Exceed picking up 2. That is absolutely huge. The system will now be spawning out over towards Laundry. LAG Academy have full control over the map. If they deal with Fellow, this round could well be over. We do have to consider the streak for Zed. He still has it ready to go. LAG Academy, they're on the point.
The thing is, he's going to have to use it blindly. I mean, you're not going to know where anybody's positioned for this, and he's going to call this in. You have to hope that your teammates can convert very quickly as soon as you start to go off. Zed trying to play through mid-map, though, is denied by Mental, who's really picked things up. He's 21 and 22 all of a sudden. Realistically, really, from the 3rd round into this 4th is where he's done a lot of the work on the kill department. And now an opportunity to really come up clutch as he's looking to finish off this 3rd tick.
Okay, I was going to say, they've got to get on the point there. Fellow and Zinx were able to follow up with a couple of kills. And, well, that streak that we were talking about, Alan, has been used. It will actually get LAG Academy away for the moment. Then, of course, the system able to follow up with some kills of their own. And now 2 ticks of progression has been made by LAG Academy on the point. So, realistically speaking, it's going to come down to one good push. That is all they need to get onto the point. Going to try and do it through the mid-map. Exceed wants a slice of the action inside Zig over towards jungle. We're seeing Zed and Zinx now combining for all of those kills. Mental has actually broken the back defensive line, but look at Decimate right now. He is in a prime position to shut this down.
Yeah, it's a 7v4 as well, so you have to do this cleanly, whatever it is for LAG Academy with your final lives. They're going to lose 1. You called out Desi mid-map. He's going to be able to give the call to his teammates, and it all falls onto the shoulders of Mental for a 1v5. Oh boy, good luck.
Mental, can he do it? A 1 versus 5. What a debut season it would be if he made that play, but it was not to be. The system managed to inject themselves in that 3-way tie at the top of our Elite Stage 4 round robin here in North America with a 3-0. Either way, really, regardless of what happens in the 3-way tie at the top of our round robin table here, Alan, I mean, that is a statement victory over what has been a powerful squad in recent memory in LAG Academy.
Oh, I mean, LNG Academy continues to impress, man. And this is going to feel a little bit bad coming away in 0-3, but you could take away a lot of positives, I think, from each of those 3 maps as you're really gearing up for the main test, which is likely going to be the knockout bracket as LNG Academy loses. Actually, it's guaranteed. It just comes down to what happens in the 3-way tiebreaker up top. I mean, Austin, one of the big things we talked about with LNG Academy during Stage 3 was the simple fact that they had to lose Chino, pick up Box last second, and then play all 7 of their group stage matches in the span of 3 days. So there was no preparation. I think they said they got 2 total scrims and outside of the matches that they played. We were hoping for improvement from LG Academy largely going into this stage after their 4th place finish, I believe, during Stage 3. What were your take overall when it comes to kind of concluding LG Academy's group stage here, even with this loss versus system?
I mean, overall, I think they've actually looked like a pretty solid team, and I mean, S&D has kind of been their shining light, but the system also pretty strong S&D squad at times. So we're talking about Desi, Fellow, like these are like some of the original S&D stars before we talk about some of the new ones that have entered the league. So I think that they did have a couple of nice strategies kind of prepared going in towards that second map to make sure that they weren't finding favor. But I think overall, LG's in an okay spot. It's a lot better than the beginning of the year. At least we can go with that, right? You're actually in the Elite Series. You are finding wins, you're qualifying, you're moving forward. So it's been great to see what they've been able to do. And I think overall it was just kind of a Desi takeover today as well, which played a pretty big factor in stopping LG finding a lot of success in those maps.
Let's take a look back at the results over the course of the day. Europe was unbelievable. 10 total maps were played. Amelia strays in reverse sweep fashion. Team War just cut a couple of rounds short from pulling off one of their own. Then the 3-1 we saw for UT Crew, very nicely done. I mean, the Hardpoint's very close. Domination, though, in the Surge and Destroy gives a little bit more favor towards UT Crew in the end. And the 3-0 with the system. Brody, final thoughts is kind of over the entire day.
I mean, honestly, it sets us up quite nicely for what is going to be a great final week in stage number 4. Again, I think overall it's just crazy that we're nearing the end of the season. Things are hotting up. I think things are tightening up in each region also as well. There's really not that much separating the top 6 teams overall in both regions at the moment, and that's going to make that week number 3 in that knockout bracket all the scarier. There are just so many teams I'm looking forward to seeing. I haven't had a look at August just yet. You know, with Gizmo, I'm excited to see what they're able to do in Europe, of course. Trash Bros, haven't had a chance to look at them just yet. I mean, they're clearly doing something right at the top here of North America. Week number 3, it is going to be an exciting conclusion to stage 4.
And that's how the knockout bracket goes. We are getting word as we're looking over at the standings that Trash Bros and Built by Gamers will hold an edge over the system in that 3-way tie, as Trash Bros have beaten both of those 2 teams, and Built by Gamers holds the edge versus the system. So as we say farewell to week number 2, we have a very aggressive and flavorful look back over towards what happened today, and we anticipate what happens in week number 3 overall. It's Trash Bros and Built by Gamers that will miss out of the knockout bracket with their instant placement into the playoffs, and we say farewell to Eastern Sobriety Gaming. So the knockout bracket of the system, Nemo, LAG Academy, and UT Crew, well, I wouldn't be risked to be putting any predictions out there. It's going to be a tight affair. Everything will come back to you next week on Wednesday for the knockout bracket, both in Europe and, of course, in North America. The second day, our playoffs, as we say goodbye to stage number 4.